What is everybody? Good morning. I got CVS receipts. I got Rule 8.6 out of the local rules of the District Court and Magistrate Division for the 4th Judicial District effective July 1st, 2018. I got Bill Thompson, who thinks that he wants a motion to be struck from the record as they put 33 pages without asking and 37 pages without asking, and we're not answering anything. Bill Thompson says, strike this shit.
I got it. Hey guys, Moscow PD. Hey, turn the music down. Turn the music down. Hey guys, second time. I need somebody to come to the door. Music stays off. Party's over.
Party's over. Party's over, Bill Thompson. Ooh, June 16, 2023, state's motion for protective order. Second, the state did not rely on the IGG information to establish probable cause for the arrest of Brian C. Kohlberger. Page 12, the state claims that they did not rely on the IGG information to obtain the arrest of Brian C. Kohlberger. Kohlberger, bam. Again, second, the state did not rely on the IGG information to establish probable cause for the defendant's arrest. Okay. Sure. The defense response to this will be very simple. I made this back, I don't even know, a year and a half ago. Probable cause affidavit, arrest B. Brian Kohlberger, statement, Brett Payne, Exhibit A, last page. Let's see. On December 27, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohlberger family residence located in Albright, Pennsylvania. Remember that? Oh, Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne, who was maybe Blakers or Maoris, or they just started convoluting their statements. Based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Brian C. Kohlberger. Based on what? This is how you obtain the arrest warrant of Brian C. Kohlberger. Yes, you did. 100. I said it back then. Now we have this Franks put in. Motions to suppress. The defendants, let's see what I say here. Oh, instead, the state has relied on and will continue to rely on the STR DNA analysis comparing defendant's DNA to the DNA in the K-bar. How the fuck you think you got that shit, boy? How you get that DNA? By the arrest of that young man. Like, you so full of shit. Do you believe your shit? This is wild. Prior to the FBI's IGG efforts, the ISP laboratory developed the traditional STR DNA profile from the DNA found on the K-bar knife sheath. And? Really? What were you going to do with that? What were you going to do with that? After identification of defendant, law enforcement recovered trash from the home of defendant's parents. After the identification, how do you think you got the identification of the defendant? This is all lies. This is wild. I made this video back, oh God, in June of 2023. So what, 16 months ago? The state did not get the buccal swab from Brian Kohlberger until after his arrest. How did the state obtain an arrest warrant for Brian Kohlberger? The FBI gave the name Brian Kohlberger to local law enforcement through a quote-unquote tip. The name Brian Kohlberger was the tip. What was the date of the tip? How was the tip submitted? What FBI agent submitted the tip? Was the tip before FBI took over lab work on the sheath to develop an IGG family tree? I mean, I'm sure that all Aunt Taylor had to do was watch my channel. I had to cut them down some legwork, right? The FBI set up their own tip line a couple days into the investigation. They flooded their own tip line. Who from local law enforcement decided that FBI would take over and when? Well, so they didn't take over, but somebody made the decision to give the FBI SNP full reign. So the Idaho State Police utilized. Let's go ahead and we'll slow that down there. That's not fair for you guys.
Hey.
Oh shit. Right there. They can't answer any of these questions. These are all the questions that Ann Taylor has been begging to get answers to since she's been submitting supplemental after supplemental after supplemental, and she can't get these answers. So, again, what is the date of the S&P profile that ISP Lab developed from the sheath? What's the date of that? Give me that date. Because remember, the Idaho Lab was, oh, hey, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin. Go give that shit to the FBI. They've been asking for these dates. It's the only way you can put together somebody in their investigative, what they did, when they did it. What are the dates that you were interviewing anybody? Dates with reports, dates with subpoenas. What was the scope of what you were looking for? We don't care about your damn return on the subpoena. Okay. I don't care the date that you got that shit back. I want to know the priority, and I want to know, in order for me to get the priority of what you guys deemed was important, I want everything in chronological order of what you and your people were doing. And I'll put it in chronological order, but I need the material. Okay. I'm not asking you to do my motherfucking job for me. Okay. I will do my job, but you're going to hand over that material. And Ann Taylor has been asking for this material since January of 2023. We are presently in November of 2024, and that bitch is still begging for discovery. And then Bill Thompson has the actual fucking balls to file. They stipulated, people, they stipulated to the filing of the IGG and the Franks being under seal with these exhibits. They stipulated to this shit. Don't you think, I don't know, professional courtesy would be when you're stipulating to something, oh, wait, hey, this is exceeding the page numbers that we're allowed to have for a memorandum. You stipulated that shit. So I would think, since you stipulated to it, that you allowed them to do 33 and 37 pages because you stipulated to that shit. So after they stipulate to it being sealed, okay, then Bill Thompson files a motion striking the two IGG and the Franks. And guess what? Just because it would be, let's say that it was struck from the record, it does not mean that they can't go back and refile it. Okay? So I went ahead and I looked up their stupid 8.6 bullshit. Amendments to pleadings. A party who moves to amend a pleading must attach to the motion 1, the unsigned proposed amended pleading, set forth the entire pleading as amended without the incorporating the prior pleading by reference, and or 2, a red line or comparison version of the proposed amended pleading that shows the changes to the current pleading. You must ask for leave from the court if you are going permission, if you can have it be more pages. Okay. For example, rule 6 is time for oral argument. Oral arguments on contested motions shall be limited to 15 minutes for each side. But if you stipulated to it and we said that we both need 30 minutes, we stipulate to it, boom, it's in. It's 30 minutes. Okay. Let's see what else. When I talk about your local rule bullshit, that's what LR is. So when you see this shit that was filed by Bill, and he puts, C L period R period 8.3, that means C local rule 8.3. So I got to go to the back then. Rule 8.3. Where are you? Reply memorandum or brief 8.3. You guys want to see it on Hector? Or you guys just trust me? Hector is simply for receipts. I'll bring Hector in for a second so you can see where I got this from. Hector. Local rule, the District Court and Magistrate Division for the 4th Judicial District, effective July 1st, 2018. 8.3. The moving party may submit a reply brief not to exceed 15 pages. Well, this wasn't a reply brief, so I'm confused. Okay? Isn't that what he asked me to go look at? 8.3? This isn't a reply brief. So is he confused? So, see? We'll start from the beginning here. Ann Taylor and team come out firing. Okay? No shit. The quick death penalty, I could sit here and tell you, yes, there's binding precedent and tons of case law in Idaho about everything to do with the death penalty. Me personally, whether you are for the death penalty or against the death penalty, if there was ever when to have the death penalty, I think stabbing 4 kids in the middle of the night while they're sleeping, how much worse can it possibly get? So I just think whether you are for the death penalty or against the death penalty, I think to just save argument that if there's an argument ever to be had, it would be something like that. I personally look at it like, hey, God brought you in, God can take you out. And I would think living in prison for the rest of your life. Who the fuck would want to do that? I think that might be worse than they just die. So anyways, Hippler denied saying that the death penalty is off the table. So the death penalty is still on the table. And there was a bunch of case law that's binding precedent. Okay. So Ann Taylor and company just doing their job with the filings. I think that they had the biggest leg to stand on, which would be kind of what Lori Vallow did when she said, okay, here, you guys fucked me over, take the death penalty off the table and, we'll call it even. I thought maybe that's something that they could have done in this case. Because I do believe that Brian Colbert has a legal argument. The fact that he had to pick between competing constitutional rights. So, but regardless, Hippler denies it. He wrote 55 pages on it. It wasn't just, hey, your motion's denied. Okay. He cited this binding precedent. And that's that. But what I really want to talk about today is the fact that Ann Taylor and team file, instead of filing just one big suppression motion, she filed it all individually. Okay. Because she wants to treat everything individually. Hey, awesome. Everything was open for the public to see except for 2 filings, which was the Franks. And what a Franks is a Franks hearing is to show that the cops lied. Police officers lied in order to get a warrant signed. Basically, I'm turning in an affidavit. I sign it under the penalty of perjury. So if I say anything in there that I know is untrue, that's why you would have a Franks hearing. So she filed that under seal, which it was either 33 or 37 pages was the memorandum attached to it. Okay. Then she filed the IGG suppression under seal, like Judge said it would be. So she was following how Judge had, she's just going with the precedent set in this case, which is anytime we're talking about IGG, we've always, had it sealed. Ann Taylor takes these documents, sends them to Bill Thompson's office and says, here, this is everything that's going to be redacted or, sealed. Do you want to stipulate to this? So he would have got those. They're stipulating. So he would have already seen 33 and 37 pages. All right. Then he sees the other 10 to 12 that we all saw, all the other warrants. And Ann Taylor files those on November 14th. They stipulated to the fact that those would be filed under seal. Bill Thompson didn't say, oh, hey, I think this can only be 15 pages. He saw the filing, I would assume. what Bill Thompson then does is, what was yesterday? November 21st, 22nd? What's today? Who knows? Yesterday, Bill Thompson decided that he was going to file this motion to strike defendant's memorandum in support of motion to suppress genetic information. That's part of the seal. And memorandum in support of a Frank's hearing. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County Prosecutor's Office. And it moves to strike defendant's memorandum in support of motion to suppress because they violate the local rules of the 4th District of the 4th Judicial District. Memorandum in support of non-dispositive motions, quote unquote, must not exceed 15 pages. LR 8.1. So what do? I go and get this. There we go. Motion. Each motion other than a routine or uncontested matter must be accompanied by a separate memorandum or brief not exceeding, I have 25 pages. I don't know if this is from July 1st. Maybe they changed it and now it's 15 pages. Maybe he just can't read. I don't know. All right. But the bottom line is that, okay, what can happen because of this? Well, because this is what you're supposed to do based on these local rules. You're supposed to ask the court for permission, and that's when you file, when you say, I'm taking leave. I'm asking the court for permission. Hey, I'm going to be filing a motion here. My memorandum in support of my motion is going to exceed the local rules of 25 or 15 pages, whatever it is. Do I have permission to file this? And you normally state why it would take you extra pages, okay? And I would think, because I would see how Hippler is being, you can't just ask for it. He wants some reasoning to it, all right? So you better come with something because that's how he's going to be, right? So you would then say, well, based on all the fuckerage of the state and how much shit I have to show you and walk through, okay, to point it out from A to B to C to D to E to, all this shit that they've done. This isn't just one little white lie. This is so much stuff that I cannot possibly put it into 15 pages. And you understand it, unless you want me to use shorthand. Or 8 font, not double spaced, which is then going against the way that you're supposed to file. So Bill Thompson says, rather than us just responding to this motion, we're not going to respond and we're going to file this. Okay. We're going to file this, which says, local rules 8.1 and then local rule 8.3. And defendant violated the rule when he filed a 37-page memorandum to support his motion to suppress genetic information, and 33-page memorandum in support of his motion for a Frank's hearing without seeking leave of this court. And that's where you go to local rule 8.3. The moving party may submit a reply brief not to exceed 15 pages. And I don't understand that. At all, because this isn't a reply memory. I mean, what is Ann Taylor filed the fucker. She didn't reply. So I'm confused with that. Again, I'm not a lawyer though, but I'll tell you that if I was sitting in law class right now, I'd raise my hand and I'd say, okay, maybe I missed something here, but why would I be mentioning rule 8.3 about it being a reply when I filed my memorandum in support of my original brief, my motion? And they would probably say, I don't know, Lana, maybe you're right, because that doesn't make sense. It makes sense when you're talking about up over here, the motions. But then again, maybe they say, no, Lana, this is why. So if any lawyers out there know, let me know. But that's what I would be raising my hand in class if I was learning this. So then he says that See, there's Bill Thompson. Jeff Nye, the science guy's in there too. A memorandum in support is not filed with this motion as the state believes page limitations qualify as a routine matter. The state requests that the court decide this issue without a hearing. See local rule 5.3. All right, let's go take a look at our cheat sheet here. Where's 5.3? Here we go. Within 14 days of the filing date of a motion, a moving party fails to notice a motion for hearing and fails to request the matter be decided without a hearing, the court may consider the motion withdrawn. You guys, all that's going to happen here is that, let's say that Hippler's like, yep, they didn't ask me. You're right. They took too many pages up. But then he could say, but guess what? This is how I would answer this. You're absolutely right. They exceeded the pages per the local rule. However, your office stipulated to those motions being filed under seal, and I think he would probably say that you would have known that they were 33 and 37 pages, and therefore you're encompassing the exhibits, everything, and you stipulated to it. So because of your stipulation, we will be having a hearing. Or you could say, you're right, they exceeded the page numbers, blah, blah, blah. But in here, he does not say, and this is why Hippler has to stay true to his way that he is, that's not addressed in this, that they stipulated to those two being sealed, and they would have known. They would have fucking known that those pages were 33 and 37 pages, and you're stipulating to that. And then they can come back and say, no, we just stipulated to it being under seal. We didn't stipulate to the fact that they could do 33 and 37 pages. Well, maybe you should have brought that up. But I think if you want to go ahead and strike this, all they're going to do is have to reword their, or they could ask the court for leave to file then it as is, or just refile it as 15 pages. And I would then say, I would file it not under seal, and I'd blast it all out there because I could. So bottom line is this is just wasting time. Because if you think that this is going to be out, it's not going to be out. It's just, they're playing games. This is lawyer games. This is why I'm just like, you got to be kidding me right now. Wow. Like, wow. So I was fired up yesterday when I saw it. And because I was so fired up about it, I went ham on Idaho just across the board with the Brian Drake case, just like showing even more, just Idaho, you're just on another level, man. I don't know what's in your water. I don't know what you drink. But not like this isn't going to be like, oh, see, they lost their chance at ever having a Frank's. Fuck no. That's not what this is. Nothing like that's going to happen. I personally think that they stipulated to it, these two filings. Fuck you. You're out. Like, you stipulated to it. You knew what it consisted of. And you didn't say in your filing that you didn't. I'm just saying two can play that game, right? Hell yeah. Remember that Hippler just said no to, they asked the court for leave for something else, and he said that they were too vague, and they asked on the eve of when something was due. So hold on, let's take a look now at this. Let's add this back. So those of you guys that are just joining, this was filed right there. June 23rd, I think it was, 2023. The state responded. And so I want to play that for everybody to remind everybody what we're talking about, which is page 12 of this filing. The state claims that they did not rely on the IGG information to obtain the arrest of Brian Koberger. I'm sorry, but I personally think that Ann should serve Bill Thompson with a subpoena. I think that Bill Thompson is a witness in this case. 100%, I think Bill Thompson is a witness. It was like he was being a cop, making decisions. And I think that that's part of the reason why they're bringing in all these other prosecutors. So he has the balls to write in this that the state did not rely on the IGG information to establish probable cause for the defendant's arrest. Put a 1 in chat if you think that that's a lie. How can you say that you did not rely on IGG information to establish probable cause? How can you literally write that? And please, if you think that it's not and I'm nuts, put a 2 in chat. Well, I don't see any 2s yet. Next. The defense response to this will be very simple, is what I say back when I made this video 15 months ago. Probable cause affidavit to arrest Brian Koberger statement, Brett Payne, Exhibit A, last page. I tell everybody, go there. So I show it here. I show where you can find it. Go on the website, click affidavit, and then scroll on down. Oh, wait, there it is right there. On December 27, 2022, Pennsylvania agents, this is in the probable cause for the arrest of Brian Koberger. Agents recovered the trash from the Koberger family residence located in Albright, Pennsylvania. Now, if they had their whole family over at different points during that week, there would have been Brian's DNA in there, the mom's, the dad's, and the sister's. Okay. So I want to know what was tested from the trash. Okay. Because let me tell you what they did in the quad homicide where 4 students were brutally stabbed to death. They let garbage sit there outside. They didn't take that trash and go test any of that trash to see whose DNA was in that trash of a crime scene. And so when they would have taken this trash, I want to know what they did. I want to know what items they were able to get saliva off of, or, and then you would just have a bunch of still unknowns unless you put them through CODIS, right? And you got a hit, but you're going to have a bunch of unknowns, right? So right here, this is in the probable cause. It says that the evidence from that trash, the evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab. Well, how did you send it there? You say that you got that on December 27th. How did you get the trash to Idaho? Can't wait to hear who worked on this shit. And then on December 28th, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of suspect profile. At least 99.99998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. And so what I'm trying to say is, how did you go and get, or know to go and get, the trash out of somebody's trash can in Pennsylvania from a quad homicide in Idaho if you're going to seriously sit here and say that you did not use IGG to get the name Brian Kohlberger and then to go and get the trash out of there. Well, no, what we did is we used that tip. Then we lied our fucking asses off in an AT&T warrant and then another AT&T warrant. And we made it seem like this white Elantra or this white sedan was moving in concert with a cell phone that we were able to obtain the number from because this name, Brian Kohlberger, happened to get a speeding ticket got a seatbelt ticket, pulled over, whatever, got a ticket, and he put his phone number on the ticket. How did you know it was AT&T? Did you put a warrant in? Did you try to search for T-Mobile? Did you go to Verizon? How did you know to go to AT&T? Well, we use that Truth Finder, like Jesse tells me to do. We use Truth Finder. It's going to be one hell of an argument. So based on the above information, I'm requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Brian Z. Kohlberger. So, and then what ended up coming from the knowing that you're partial on the sheet is actually that of Brian Kohlberger's. How'd you get there? This is how you obtain the arrest warrant. And I think this is why she did it all separately. Instead, the state has relied, right here. Instead, the state has relied on and will continue to rely on the STR DNA analysis comparing defendant's DNA. You didn't know that that was the defendant's DNA. That's the whole point. You had an unknown male DNA that you would have been comparing. You didn't know that it belonged to Brian Kohlberger. So you were so full of fucking shit. You had an unknown, and I still want to know how much, because damn, Indiana, y'all suck. If Idaho can do all this and Indiana can't do anything with the case that I just went to in Delphi. So instead, the state has relied on and will continue to rely on the STR DNA analysis comparing defendant's DNA. You didn't know it was the defendant's. You had an unknown. And you would have never went and got the garbage of a family out in Pennsylvania had you not what? Had the IgG tip. Unreal. That's because Indiana's too ethical. Shit. And they're over here talking about the DOJ policy over there at the bottom of that brief. I'm like, oh my God. You have the nerve to talk about the DOJ interim policy? That's why I believe that Bill Thompson is a witness in this case. You have to treat Bill Thompson like a police officer with this case, because Bill Thompson 100% was calling the shots based on if they went DOJ policy, interim policy on IgG. Your prosecutor is 100% calling the shots if you are even going to use IgG. And so unless you're going to sit here and tell me that Bill Thompson was in the dark about all of this, okay, then you did not follow protocol. I mean, you're damned if you say this, and then you're damned if that's the best argument in the world would you ever have, is that, hey, it doesn't matter which way they go, we have this. So I personally believe, though, that Bill Thompson, he said it in his interviews. He said he knew things that we didn't know, but that's why he would send his kid to Idaho. Go look at the dates, November 28th, 29th, and 30th. He was on a world tour, okay, going and doing all these interviews. Bill Thompson was on the slide. Bill Thompson got the case basically moved out of Latah because of his unethical bullshit. Prior to the FBI's IgG efforts, the Idaho State Police Laboratory developed the traditional STR DNA profile from the DNA found on the K-bar knife sheath. After identification of defendant. How did you identify defendant? Dipshits. After identification of defendant. Yeah, how did you do that? This is lies. After identification of defendant, law enforcement recovered trash from the home of defendant's parents. An ISP laboratory did STR DNA analysis of items from the trash for comparison to the unknown crime scene DNA. And why would you compare that family's DNA to 60-year-olds that you just bum rushed? Okay, no knock bastards. And why would you ever go to these a set of parents out in the Poconos? They were the parents of the tip we got from the FBI. What tip would that be? I've never heard of this. This is where I draw the line. Let's say I call the tip line in right now. Yo, let me talk to Payne. Hey, I got a tip for you. You should investigate Susie Smith. Because I was on the internet and I was, going through all these social media profiles, and I saw that Susie wrote something stupid on the internet, and then she had a knife, and then I saw that she was friends with all the victims. So you should investigate Susie Smith. Did I take anything from the crime scene to call my tip in to the FBI? Was I given evidence from the crime scene to generate my tip that I called the tip in? Did Officer Payne call me up and say, hey, Lana, I'm going to send you photo albums that the girls all put together from years of being at that college. Can you go through these photos and try to find these people on social media and then look up their social media accounts? Well, yeah, he would actually have taken evidence from the crime scene to give to me, right? But me calling Payne in and just saying, hey, I was on social media, I've been digging around, and I found that this girl, she's a whack-a-dack, Susie Smith, Sweet Sue. She gets drunk at night, and then I saw her with a bloody knife. I think there was a sheath. She's connected to the victim. She lives in Idaho, and she was saying how one of the girls was banging her boyfriend. I think you should look into her. That's a tip. But you taking a piece of the crime scene, right? Evidence from the crime scene, and handing it to somebody like they did in this situation, where you gave the FBI, here, you can have the raw data of one of our unknown male DNAs of the crime scene, and now go generate your tip. Don't you think that's a hell of a lot different than that's how they want to try to say, though, that IGG, according to CC Moore, is wait, it's just a tip. It's just it's an investigative lead. Holy shit. I didn't realize that taking evidence from the crime scene and giving it to somebody to generate your tip, like, what? No, that would be considered police work. That would be considered discovery. That's you're investigating. You're taking evidence from the crime scene and using it. And you don't think that a defendant has the right to know about any of that? Think about that. Think about when they want to say that IGG is just an investigative tip. That doesn't make sense to me. There's no logic there. Yeah, I want the same thing. Okay. And I will debate anybody till I'm blue or they're blue in the face, because it's you're comparing oranges to apples. And to think that my DNA was being passed around, because I would love to hear about that. You know, this. Why wouldn't Idaho State Police Laboratory, that just got a huge ass grant in 2021 to do genetic genealogy, why wouldn't they? And then I realized why. Because Idaho State Police, guess what, guys? They weren't the leads in this case. Moscow Police Department never relinquished any of, like, it's their case. They just asked for help, okay? I think Idaho State Police and Moscow Police Department butted some serious fucking heads in this case. And I think it's going to come out. Okay? How pissed would you be if you're the Idaho State Police and you're about to work this genetic genealogy that you guys have been raving about? You guys have set up this laboratory to be able to do all this stuff, and you're about to start it. And then you get a call from someone like Payne, who has been in law enforcement for 2 years. He's been with the military before that, but he just started and is with Moscow Police Department for 2 years. I mean, it's his case, right? He would have made that call. Hey, stop what you're doing. We're actually going to have the FBI do this. You understand that there'd be phone calls, there'd be emails, right? How do you get someone, how do you talk to, like, hey, I need to use your resources? How does that happen? I have to make phone calls. I have to do emails. Those are all discoverable. So here's this case that if you didn't do anything wrong and it's just so by the book, all right, then what's the fucking problem? You don't get to claim something as just a tip from, like, the outside if that person gets a piece of the pie to make their tip. Give me the discovery. Then I want the goddamn discovery, and I'll give you guys some tips too. I want all of your guys' supplemental reports. I want everything that Ann Taylor has been asking for in the last, 19 supplemental requests. I want to put together a timeline, and I want to give it to Ann Taylor. I want to go through all those extractions with the cell phones, because I can only imagine how many there are. Think about that. Think about that. Wait, why can't I do that? I want to give you guys a tip. I just need some of the evidence to be able to give you that tip. Fuck out of here. Unbelievable. This is just violating our rights, continuing to violate our rights. So this is what Bill Thompson says. What's up? Is that Sarge? How you doing, Sarge? Well, there's always FBI in all the different areas, guys. I mean, there's FBI offices all over. I wouldn't look too much into that, but the state did not get the buccal swab of Brian Kober until after his arrest. That means they did not have his DNA. Again, I have to ask, this is just so crazy. You're going to sit here and tell me that you guys were not able to get his DNA, like, once the name came out? you weren't able to get anything. Like, you're supposed to compare his DNA to then your unknown sample. You weren't able to do that. Do you guys think that they have pictures of Brian separating his trash and putting his trash in with, because the answer is no, in with neighbors? Because if they actually saw him doing this, why wouldn't they just go and get the discarded freaking garbage that was being put in the neighbor's trash? Do you understand how fucking stupid this is? If me and Jim, hey Jim, hey Lana, we have to do this stakeout. We got to watch this fucking prick. All right, what are we looking for? Well, we got to follow him wherever he goes. We got to get his DNA. He's got to leave a cup if he goes to Starbucks. I mean, whatever he does. Okay, here we go. Me and Jim. We've been watching him for, I don't know, weeks. And then, oh God, he goes on these runs. All right, sweet. Then we see him, man, why is he running with latex gloves on? So weird. Oh my God, look it. He starts emptying his pockets and he starts putting trash in his neighbor's trash bins. And then what are me and Jim going to do? Oh my God, Jim, look. Let's go get that trash. Yeah, you're right, Lana. Let's go do that. All right. Brian goes running off. We go get the trash. Wait, it's 2022. Wait, I got my phone here. Do you think I should take some pictures of him? And then, oh my God, he's discarding trash. Oh my God, let me get pictures of him. Just like I should wear, like, I don't know, a body cam or use my phone. I mean, it's 2022. We're about to barricade into this house. Wouldn't I, like, no, why would we ever do that? So you're going to sit here and tell me that these agents and officers from Pennsylvania State Police, FBI in Moscow, somebody put it out there that Brian Culver was separating his trash. Where? Were you guys sitting around the table with him playing some fucking pinochle? What are you talking about? You were able to see that he was separating his trash in his parents' home using gloves and putting them in little plastic baggies? Where is this? Were you banging one of the sisters and that's how you got were you undercover banging a sister? I mean, were you undercover female banging Brian? I mean, were you the swinger couple that the parents were doing? I mean, how would you ever see that? You wouldn't ever see that. That would, and then there would definitely be like what? Video cameras. I mean, so whoever put that out there back in the day, where are you getting that from? And then don't you think out of all the items that they would have tested, even if he separated his fucking trash, okay? That, oh, wait, when his parents went to sleep, Brian gets up, goes to the trash can, and just starts taking out anything that he touched. What? Who believes this shit? So is it surprising that not like don't you think it's surprising that the trash at the Culver residence, out of all of that trash that would have been in there, that none of it would have actually been Brian's? Isn't that weird? And that's why they're probably saying, well, yeah. That's why we're saying he must have been separating the trash because we didn't get a hit on anything in the trash that was his. I just think it's 2022 at that time. It'd have been so hard not to, like, unless you just never left your house. I'm going to stay at my parents' house. I'm not going to leave. I'm only going to go on my runs, come back. But he went to CVS. He didn't touch anything in there. He didn't use the touch screen, right? They couldn't get this guy's DNA for the weeks that they were following him. It's interesting. The FBI gave the name Brian Culver to local law enforcement through a quote-unquote tip. The name Brian Culver was the tip. And then my thing is what was the date of this tip? How was the tip submitted? What FBI agent submitted the tip? Was the tip before FBI took over lab work on the sheath to develop IgG family tree? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, this is why they did a grand jury, because Ann Taylor knew. Yep, put your thumb up there. The FBI, remember, set up their own tip line just a couple days into the investigation. Why do I think that's important? Because this tip that the FBI generated, did they push it through their tip line? Okay. Did they put it through, Moscow's tip line? Remember, the FBI started up their own tip line, though. Who from local law enforcement decided that the FBI would take over? Who made that call? Or was it the prosecutor? Remember, Chief Fry and them, they had a really good relationship. Like, they all went to, like, FBI, like, training and shit like that, or got invited to some camp or whatever. By the way, Chief Fry lost his sheriff race, so I have no idea what Chief Fry is going to be doing. I think you should start a podcast. Oh, sweetness. Would you guys? I would totally tune in to hear Chief Fry talk about some of the wildest experiences as an officer. What is the date of the SNP profile? Whoopsie. What is the date of the SNP profile that ISP Lab developed from Sheath? What's the date? Oh, wait, they didn't do it, remember? That's when we found out that, oh, wait, they stopped. They halted them in their tracks and said, nope, send it to the FBI. So oh, wait, the Idaho State Police utilized a private laboratory to develop an SNP profile. Oh, shit. Wait, what? You guys, what is it? Like, that's why all of these emails matter. So let me get this straight. The Idaho State Police utilized a private laboratory to develop an SNP profile from the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. The private laboratory started using genetic genealogy to develop a family tree. Now, this is where I am so confused because I thought y'all did that shit. That's what the huge grant was for. And I think this is why Ann Taylor did her declaration. She's like, none of this is making any sense. Idaho State Police Lab got a huge ass grant in 2021 for the purposes to do genetic genealogy. I get that they teamed up with it. That doesn't. So we're teaming up with a different lab to do that. There's just a lot of questions there. You got to ask some questions. You got to figure out. I mean, why would we be paying? Why would Idaho State Police get this huge grant and then go get a third-party lab. Like, don't you think that just is like, it's like a public school getting a huge grant and then going and getting a private school to give, hey, we want all your books. Hey, we want to bring in, we're gonna take our kids and we're gonna have them go and learn from you guys, even though we just got this huge grant to be able to have, I don't know, like a special ed program. But then we're just gonna, even though we got this huge grant, got all this money to work with and bring in resources for the special ed students, we're just gonna take our special ed students and put them in these private schools. And then what, just pay for them to go to the private schools then with the grant money? Then the FBI. So law enforcement decided the FBI would take over. So the private laboratory ceased its efforts and sent the S&P profile to the FBI. The FBI, and this is where I'm saying like this big like fight would have occurred. The FBI uploaded the S&P profile to one or more publicly available genetic genealogy services to identify possible family members of the suspect based on shared genetic data. This is what's interesting is, so you took the S&P profile that was created from the Idaho State Lab. So so you guys figured, okay, hey, we're going to have to cheat here. In order for us to cheat, we need to go through the FBI. So that the FBI can upload these and use these loopholes to put in law enforcement kits like this in databases that have people opted out of law enforcement being able to have their shit. But if we use the FBI, this is how we're going to be able to do that. No S&P profile was ever created. That's not true. That's not true. Not based on not based on this document. Again, here it is. The Idaho State Police private laboratory, they used the private lab to develop it's like theirs though. They used it. This private lab did it, allegedly. Fucking think anybody did it. Yeah, exactly. If we use the FBI, we can get away with murder. Right there. So the private laboratory ceased its efforts and sent S&P profile to the FBI. So this private lab did that, sends it to the FBI, and the FBI uploaded the S&P profile to one or more of the publicly available genetic genealogy services to identify possible family members of the suspect based on shared genetic. The FBI could then view through the genetic genealogy services portal information regarding potential relatives. Guess what? Absolutely you can. But it doesn't just work like that. It just doesn't go, you upload this S&P and whoop. That's just, first of all, it takes longer. It takes like 5 to 8 days longer to upload a law enforcement kit. How about that? You want that for starters? If you upload a non-law enforcement kit to a third party, way faster. When you have to upload a law enforcement kit that you have to fill out paperwork with and pay for and get a receipt that the FBI can't produce, it takes longer. That's a fun fact for you guys. the FBI built this family tree using the same tools and methods of the public. So now the FBI is no better than the public. So then why did the FBI need to do this and not ISP? That's my question. If FBI extra tools weren't used, you know, what did you need from the FBI that we need to use their resources? So they're extending their what resources did the FBI say, hey, because think about this, the FBI doesn't say, they don't interject. Moscow would have to go and ask them. So what resources did you want the FBI to utilize if it wasn't to cheat? That's the only thing that you could have used the FBI in their quote unquote extra tools in this situation was to flat out fucking cheat. And when I say cheat, violate people's rights. Let me ask you a question. Why wouldn't you just do it the right way? See what came up. See what came up. Because you wouldn't know if you couldn't get to the person that way. Okay? So to me, it seems like I think that you would have realized, you would have at least tried it. Like, wouldn't you try something first before you just go to like, hey, we're just going to go straight to fucking cheating? Okay. So wouldn't I just do what I do? Hey man, I can't get anything on this. Like this, these are such distant. I can't work with anything here. Cause this is what would make way more sense to me is that you attempted to do it first without cheating, meaning all these, using the one loophole where you can then, your profile is not labeled a law enforcement kit. You're uploading it like it's a public, and you're not supposed to do that. And then you can then see a ton more possible matches. So I think that for what would make sense is that you didn't cheat, okay? And you did it the right way. Hence why this is all being passed around like fucking hot potato. Because they couldn't do anything with it. That's what would make sense to me. And then it's like, okay, now let's send it to the FBI because Payne made some phone calls and, well, here, why don't you send that over to us? And why don't we have our people take a look at that? Using the FBI is not cheating. IGG works is to no. FBI is you can't. It's cheating when you don't upload the profile as a law enforcement kit. When I say cheating, it's unethical. It's against the policy. It's against the user policy. It's against. I mean, you're violating our rights. Could there be a huge class action suit? Fuck yeah, there could. But what you're supposed to do and what's ethical and what the user agreement and everybody, when they're uploading their or their, DNA with these kits, they're opting out of the law enforcement shit. And so here, the people that train some of these FBI people, they taught them this loophole and how to do it so that you could actually see all matches. So I disagree when I'm saying true. So they cheat and use a third party contractor to the IGG. No, they're just not uploading their profile. You're supposed to upload if you are the police and you are doing this for police work, you have to state that. And so the FBI would have in their possession a receipt that they showed because they have to pay for it. And it's like $500 to put that fucker in. And you're uploading it and then therefore then you get a receipt. There's a nice big paper trail about that. And it's like, well, is there that with this? And I'm saying that there's not. If there was, there would be no fucking problem. because then you did it all ethically, legally. I mean, so when did the FBI need to do this? Or why did they need to do this in an ISP if FBI extra tools weren't used? And when I'm saying extra tools, I just mean that we know the loophole, give it over to here, give it to us, and we're going to go the loophole route. Because I just can't imagine that they wouldn't have tried first. For ease of reference, this motion focuses on the FBI's IGG efforts. The state is also seeking to protect the partial family tree created by the private lab, and that would have nothing to do with the FBI. And it should be protected for the same reasons the FBI's IGG efforts should be protected. The IGG process. The IGG process pointed law enforcement toward defendant, but it did not provide law enforcement with substantial or evidence of guilt. Excuse me? Do you guys read that sentence right there? So IGG, it pointed law enforcement toward defendant, but it did not provide law enforcement with substantial evidence of guilt. The FBI did not, for example, conduct a direct comparison between the SNP profile from the K-bar knife sheath and defendant's SNP profile. That's the stupidest wording. Do you know what that means when you're taking like snips out? The snips I'm taking can be different from the snips you're taking from the same sample. The sequencing. That's so fucking worded so pathetically piss poor. It's not like we didn't have SNP to SNP here, guys. We did not get an SNP to SNP hit. This is fucking wild. The process. The FBI take it over and don't record any of their work by hitting copy, print, screen. Why would we ever do that? Prior to the FBI's IGG efforts, though, guys, so check this out. The type of direct comparison required the more traditional STR DNA analysis, which was conducted by the Idaho State Police Lab, not the FBI, because prior to the FBI's IGG efforts, the ISP laboratory developed the traditional STR DNA profile from the DNA found on the K-bar knife sheath. After identification of defendant. Anybody who reads this knows that you can try to write whatever the fuck you want in this piece of paper, okay? But every way you're writing it, it keeps coming back to this sentence, which is after identification of defendant. Which was how? How did you identify the defendant? Bushy eyebrows? Dylan Mortensen? When, as in what date, did the FBI obtain the name Brian Kober from their quote unquote process? This video was made June 2023. We still asking the same questions. FBI then tosses it back to ISP. Well, they tossed it back after. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it from here. after identification of defendant. Like, which is how did you defend, or how did you identify the defendant? God, I will love it if they gave Dylan Mortensen a 6-pack eyebrow lineup. That would just, someone needs to do it, an SNL skit for that. It's worthy of it. You guys, they identified the defendant from IGG. Pursuant to search warrant, right? The comparison indicated the DNA found on the trash belonged to the biological father of the individual who left the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. But why would you ever go and obtain that trash? And you obtained that trash because of the IGG, you motherfuckers. So you can write it any which way. You can write it all like this, but anybody that's going to read this, like you teach your 3rd grade kids to comprehend this, hey, Tommy, how did they identify the defendant? Well, from doing that thing with the FBI when they got that name, because why else would they go to these Kohlberger parents over there and go get their trash? It's right here. And it wasn't until after the arrest that they were able to, so they arrest him, and then they are able to get Brian's DNA. And then you have Don Daniels, who basically, Don Daniels is now the chief of police, WSU's chief of police. Don Daniels gets a raise. Don Daniels taking one for the team. Don Daniels decides on her application for her search warrant through her probable cause affidavit, says, hey, I'm going to tell you all about this, but at the end I'm going to say, but please, after you hear all of this, like you take the toothpaste out of the tube, I'm going to ask you though, after I tell you about all of that, don't consider the DNA in issuing this search warrant. Why would you say that? Fucking motherfuckers. Thank you so much, Don Daniels. Who would ever put that on hey, but just don't consider the DNA, guys. Just don't consider that in giving me the search warrant, okay? Like, we're trying to get it without that. Why? Because it would become fruit of the poisonous tree. Why? Because of how they got the DNA. They took it from the trash that was not out on the lawn. They took it from the trash of the Kohlberger residence that's by the house. So it's not, and it's in a gated community where they have trash freaking ordinances. I mean, this is going to be so interesting. The oral arguments in January. Unbelievable. Since December 30th, 2022, Lana has been asking, how did law enforcement get the name Brian Kohlberger? We heard the name Brian Kohlberger, and I'm like, how did this happen? Oh, well, the FBI did it, right? Find out the FBI. Go back to Ann Taylor's initial discovery request. She wanted to know every search warrant applications, even those that weren't issued. She wanted to know everything about them search warrants. Again, I made this video 14 months ago, and that request made Bill Thompson squeak through his response. Like, he lost his shit in court. You guys remember that? I can play that clip again. He lost it when she asked about the search warrants. You guys remember that? I'll play the clip. He was so fucking red. He lost it. Please play it. So to the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness, including recordings or written statements of an informant or that identify an informant, such information is not subject to disclosure, and the state asserts informative or privilege under ICR. So this was Bill Thompson's response on number 10. And number 10, from what Ann Taylor was producing, that she wanted, this was under the search warrant portion. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this man? Why is he talking about, to the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness? Remember when Bill Thompson wanted to label all of us as informants? We were confidential informants because of this IGG family tree shit. He wanted to invoke informant privilege. Bill, you a dirty motherfucker, man. You are so dirty. That was his answer for that. And then let's see. There was another wild answer that he gave. Dylan, were you told about the bushy brows? I'm just curious. To say that at some point. When did she say bush and brows together? The state objects to request by the defendant for anything not otherwise addressed above on the grounds that such requests are outside the scope. He's just outside the scope. Woo, woo. 17,000 tips. How many tips before this public inquiry? Ask the public for the wrong car, ? Flood your tip line, right? 2011, 2013. Way to launch was beginning on December 7th, 2022. I wanted to know how many tips were before and after. Based on, let's ask the public for help with this vehicle. What would that then do? It would flood your tip line. Why? Why would you want to flood your own tip line if you really want help? Because they didn't fucking need help. They asked for the tips after they had the tip. After they flooded their own tip line for one reason, in my opinion. And that would be they're already thinking about how they're going to prosecute the case. Okay. They started thinking about how they're going to prosecute the case way back at the end of, November. But they needed to flood their own tip line. Sick. Absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. And people can say, Atlanta, you're so crazy. Okay. I'm crazy then. I don't think so. Let's see here. Now this is me showing you the number 10. If you flood the tip line, when you have to turn over the discovery, okay, like Ann Taylor already stated, we have tips that are all over the place, okay? Then that FBI, Brian Colbert name just gets drowned it all out there. Like, go search and all that shit through all that. Oh, right here. Number 10. This is what Ann Taylor was asking for number 10. Search warrants. Search warrants. Provide all documentation in support of any search warrant issued in connection with this case. Applications for search warrants, whether granted or denied. All affidavits, declarations, and materials in support of such search warrants. All search warrants and all search warrants returns and their inventories, right? You're supposed to ask for that. I mean, that you can print this up and this could be like hey, this is our template. But what Bill Thompson responded to on number 10 with his response to this is about informants, is about invoking privilege for informants. There's no search warrants that have anything to do with Brian Colbert except for 2 before his arrest, basically, and that's AT&T. You guys know that, right? I'm taking this all back, so I'm piecing this all together for everybody. All the search warrants that they were doing from the time of the crime and the arrest of Brian, okay? AT&T, that's like Ann Taylor would be looking at nothing but search warrants that have to do with tower dumps, financials for the victims, social medias for the victims, eBay, doing everything for the sheath, for this purchase, Reddit, victim. So then here, when Ann Taylor would be getting this discovery, her first batch, she'd have been looking at this like, not one of these supplemental reports have the name Brian Colbert in it. Like, you guys understand that, right? Like, she's looking through things and she's like, okay, where's Brian? When did they start? What the hell? Where is... You're looking at stuff that's like, this is nothing. There's nothing in here with Brian. Because when does Brian stuff start happening? Well, when he's arrested. All these search warrants for Brian after his arrest. Because then they use this, DNA that's a match to this sheath, right? His apartment, his car, his arrest, his person, his parents' place, his phone, his Google, his Amazon. None of that shit was before he was arrested because there was no probable cause. There was no probable cause, right? They had to wait till, but there was that. That's why that AT&T warrant is so important. And that's the biggest lie. That AT&T warrant is everything. That AT&T warrant, that's when they lied and they said that the car and Brian and his phone were moving together. And he shut off his phone during the crime and then turns it back on. And then here we see this white sedan that's now timing up perfectly with now the phone. Come to find out, thanks to the testimony of Cyree and Payne and then Mowry, all of them on the stand and the things that they said, holy shit, the FBI was involved in that. The FBI only used, 10 or 17% of the data purposefully so that it could make it seem like they could manipulate the data, knowing that that's not all the data, knowing that if you did use all the data, then it's not correct, it's not accurate. And right there, that's the case. If Hippler throws out the AT&T warrants, everything goes. You don't have probable cause to do anything. And And then so we think about it, it's like, wait a second, the FBI lied. The FBI lied about that shit. And then the FBI was the people that did the sheath or with the DNA and the IgG. And so who's to say that they didn't lie about that? Damn. And so I will debate anybody on this to say that that's not how this is going to play out, because it's going to play out just like it. And so it's going to be a matter of if Hippler doesn't think that, and the only way that you could get to the bottom of that is having this Franks hearing. Because 100% they lied. And that's why I sometimes ask, why do people care what came from the warrant? Because that doesn't matter. There could be nothing that would have come from the warrant. Why are you fucking lying? Why do you need to lie? You guys remember how DNA exonerated a bunch of African American males that confessed to crimes? How many racist cops out there padded evidence against them, got them to then, here, you better take this plea deal or you're going to be going away for life, right? Here, take this plea deal for 20 or 40. We know you raped that white girl, right? We know you killed that white girl. And then lo and behold, the Innocence Project comes along, and all these people that confessed to these crimes are being exonerated by DNA. And the thing that the Innocence Project needs to, like, I think, highlight more is not that the DNA in this great scientific, oh my God, because of DNA, we're exonerating all these people. No. I think the Innocence Project should say, no, because of all those fucking lying cops, okay, that knew that those people did not commit those crimes. What's happened to those people? Nothing. We don't hear any stories about that. We just hear, oh my God, this guy gets out of prison after 30 years. Wait, how did this happen? Why would he ever confess to something that he did not do? Let's take a look at that whole case file again. Let's take a look at the whole case file and let's see how this whole thing fucking happened. Oh, this is why. This is why. Because these police officers over here fucked him. These FBI agents lied. So all we hear about the Innocence Project is, oh my God, DNA is so great. They're exonerating people that were wrongfully accused and then convicted. Well, why were they wrongfully accused and convicted? Well, because they confessed. Well, why would they confess? It goes way deeper than that. It goes into, we shouldn't even need the Innocence Project to come through and clean up this mess with DNA. We have people being shitbags and they care more about their close rate, percentage rate, all this bullshit, and they don't want to do their damn jobs and investigate because they're not smart enough to do it. They went from being a patrolman to being a detective. Just because you can fucking drive a vehicle and pull somebody over and write a ticket does not mean you can connect dots, does not mean that you are a detective. But hey, what do? We just pump these people up the line and then, but ask ourselves why people were confessing to stuff that they didn't do. Why would anybody do that, right? It's all you hear. How could anybody say they did something they didn't do? Because you're damned if you don't. Because you know you're about to be convicted because they padded the stats elsewhere. They lied about other things And so if I go to trial, I'm going to go away for life, or I could take this plea deal and say I did it and do 20 to 40 or 10 to 15. And it's just absolutely fucking sickening. And so, no, I don't give great props to DNA. Okay, I want to reverse it and say, no, I have an issue with why this ever happened in the first place. Why would we ever need DNA in the Innocence Project to be exonerating all these people that lost their fucking lives? Well, because of shitbags that lied. You want to cheat somebody out of their life? Fuck you. I think that should be you. Why aren't we holding trials for those fucking people that did that shit? Tampering with evidence, manufacturing evidence, obstructing justice. How damn dare you? And then, oh, we got to be part of the code blue and we can't tell on each other. Can you imagine if a teacher didn't tell another teacher that they saw a teacher having sex with a student and I don't say something about it because I'm going to protect my teacher? You know how foolish that sounds? Pay cops more, get better character people, and get rid of people that are fucking idiots. We're paying the police. Our tax dollars are paying those salaries. But you guys, people aren't wrongfully accused and convicted without a shitty investigation and people that were running that investigation. Qualified immunity, my fucking ass. And that's what this Franks is all about. That's what you can do. What's the Blevins? If Hippler thinks that he's going to just deny this, ooh, Dad. I don't think that's happening, but there's a reason that Judge wanted out of here. He doesn't want to be any part of this. Let's say you want to keep the IGG. Sure, sounds great, but guess what? The AT&T warrant, you're fucked. You're fucked because the FBI and Payne and Mowry and Nick Balance, y'all fucking lied. You cheated. You lied. That's what I call cheating. Cheaters, liars. You're not a cheater. You don't have the label of cheater without being a liar. Scum. And then when I hear people say, well, Lana, you want killers just to go free? Fuck you, no. I know so many good police officers. No, I want the shitbags up out of here, gone, bye. You don't get another chance in something like this. You don't get another chance. Put them back in a patrol car or here, go to McDonald's, go flip some burgers. I think you should put them in fucking jail, but no, you don't. Oh, they just made a mistake. When's the last time you saw a police officer get up on the stand and say, oh my gosh, I thought we used all the data. We didn't. I messed up. I'm wrong. When is the last time we watched a case where a police officer has ever said that on the stand? So we're going to sit here and say that prosecutors and police officers are never wrong, but yet they're human beings. It's impossible. But a police officer is never going to tell you that they're wrong. A prosecutor is never going to tell you that they're wrong. And so I encourage everybody that's a defense attorney out there to become a prosecutor. Become the DA. You get to decide what cases get prosecuted and what cases don't. Yeah, exactly, Heather. Nope, they just keep on lying. Lana, why do you defend murderers? Lana doesn't defend murderers. Lana doesn't want to see if Brian Kober killed four kids. Brian Kober is going to walk for killing 4 kids because these fucking assholes lied. If I'm one of their parents, who you think I'm mad at Ann Taylor? You think I'm mad? My anger better be not misplaced here, and it needs to be on these officers who kept telling me all this shit. It takes time. We're gonna do this, and this prosecutor that's telling me all this shit. Okay, and then here you guys do such inept, sloppy work with my kid's case that it just got tossed, or this supposed great evidence that really you never had because it's all fact. It's manufactured. And this is not the only case that this is going on in. It's going on all over. Cast is about to get royally blown up in this case. Bye-bye, Cast. Because do you know how many cases are about to get brought back on the table because of this case? You know, I thought about it long and hard. Why would Cy Ray ever take this case? You know, there's just some cases that you would never want to take just because, fuck, that's going to ruin my reputation. Well, I think there comes a point where enough's enough. I think Carrie and Cy Ray are probably two of the most stand-up individuals that I've come across ever since I started my YouTube channel, which was never for the purpose to be on YouTube, by the way. It was to promote a nonprofit to help people that didn't have the funds to navigate through the criminal justice system with their, underprivileged families, and to help their loved ones that had been wrongfully accused and convicted. This case has reeked from the beginning. And does it reek from the beginning because there's just inept people that were running it? Is it because there was something totally else going on? I don't know. I don't know those answers. I don't know if Brian Koberger did it or didn't do it. Okay. But one thing I do know is that this timeline is complete trash. The FBI violated our rights. Moscow Police Department violated our rights. Idaho State Police violated our rights. And when I say our rights, because that's what this is about, it's our rights. Do you guys know what case law precedent means? That means this case affects our rights. The outcome of these cases, this case, that case, it affects, we have to follow those cases. It's complete, absolute bullshit. So, over the past, I'd say now 2 or 3 years, no, I don't think that there's ever a time that it's okay to violate our rights because you think that you're going to, but that's the only way that we're going to be able to get this piece of shit off the street. And see, like, that's where I'm the type of person that says, no, you're going to keep an eye on him. If we have to pay one person to follow that person around until they slip up or until we can, then that's what we're paying for. Because what's the difference? Like that's what we're doing. Like, that's what we pay for. But like, no, we're going to do it the right way. And so I think it's crazy that police officers and judges, prosecutors, that the same rights that they violate every day, they're violating their own rights as well. And that just tells me that's when a person has zero personal pride. That's when a person has, like, they are reckless, they are dangerous, and they won't do anything. They'll do anything for a buck. And there is no one to blame. Obviously, whoever's the killer or killers, they're fucking scum. Okay. But I believe the right people, if you put the right people on this case, they could get whoever it is. And if it's Brian, it's Brian. But when you walk into a courtroom and you look around and you see scum 10 times over from just the person that's sitting in the defendant's chair, I think that that's the problem with the United States of America. Is we should be walking into the courtroom and seeing a bunch of innocent people who are there doing their job, and there shouldn't be criminals trying to put other criminals away. Comes from integrity. Like I wouldn't be able to, if someone said, here, Lana, you could put that that kit into a system and we can then be with all these other profiles. I would never do that. There's no fucking way I would ever do that. But why are people doing it? Do you really want those people in charge that they make that decision? That's the decision that they're making? Not me. Absolutely not. I don't want them in charge of us. I don't want them in charge of our... Fuck no. And so how many times is it, oh, well, we'll give them another chance. They messed up. How? That's not a mess up, you guys. That's a decision. You made a choice. That's not, you didn't mess up. A mess up is a mistake, is like inverted. Holy shit, I didn't realize, like, oh my God, I worked this case, but you don't understand. Like, oh my God, I didn't have that evidence. Now when you put that evidence with what I have, oh my God, it changes everything. And, you know, that person didn't really do it this, but, you know, these aren't mistakes. You know, you want to get people out of speeding tickets because you know somebody, oh, I know that cop, I got out of a speeding ticket. Awesome, great. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about at all. These people know right from wrong. And they're choosing doing it wrong. And so I don't know what the consequence needs to be, but I don't think that they should be having the jobs that they have. And Bill Thompson and his filing, absolutely, absolutely laughable. Absolutely fucking laughable. And so my message to Ann Taylor is sweep the leg. You know what that means? That means how many times you need to see how somebody's playing because they think this is a game. Okay. So sweep the fucking leg, and they want to fucking play Cobra Kai Dojo. Sweep the leg. Take the fucking gloves off. Who files this bullshit? Your memorandum is 33 and 37 pages. You stipulated, you dumb fucking cocksucker. That's how dumb it looks on your part. You stipulated this. You stipulated. And if I don't see that Hippler says that in his order, then now you're fickle as fuck because you stipulated. Yes, I agree. You like that? I don't know how people sit back and just like, yeah, nothing to see here. Good. I hope your rights get fucking violated. If you think that what's going on right now is fine, who cares? It's Brian Kober. He's a piece of shit. He murdered 4 kids. Aunt Taylor wants to get everything thrown out. All this evidence. There is not all this evidence against this man. That's the other fucking lie that's out there. What's against this man? Here, I got a piece of paper right here. Let's start a list. What evidence is against this man? He's a vegan. First thing of evidence against him. He's a vegan. Yep. Sheath. That's your evidence. And now after all there's no weight in this. And this is kind of what Karen Reed's defense team did. It's like, okay, Karen Reed's defense team chose not to have a suppression hearing, okay, not to have a Franks, because they were like, no, we want to use all of this evidence to show the jury how crazy this is, right? That they collected evidence in solo cups, all the crazy shit. But where you have to ask yourself is, now, round number 2 here, I hope to God y'all have a suppression hearing, right? Because we realize that jurors aren't smart. Oh, that's all they had. They just had solo cups, so that's what they had to use. Not a big deal. That's what these jurors think. So you can't go the route as, well, let me just show you how my client's rights were A, violated, B, just unreliable, all this stuff, like planning evidence. It's just like, look at this timeline, right? And here are the jurors. Yeah, manslaughter. Absolutely insanity. So Ann Taylor says, yeah, no. We're not suppressing this stuff because there's all this incriminating evidence against Brian Colbert, because if there was, trust me, it would have been leaked by all those little fuckers from the Latell County Sheriff's Department over there. They're housing people, just like it was before, and all the lies. Brian Enton saying, oh, Brian Colbert said, who else was arrested? As he's getting taped down and guns in his face with his parents, in their whitey tighties, and poor mom's probably in her freaking teddy for her husband with her fucking face mask on, her eye mask. No bra on. Poor thing. One of the cops told us that Brian Colbert said, who else did you arrest? Well, you guys saw that that's not true, right? Jurors should have, I like this. Oh, I kind of like this. I kind of like this one, Meg. This one has legs for me. Jurors should take a lie detector test. I like that. I think that you should have, not too shabby. When you're being questioned with your voir dire, can you? Don't worry, we'll keep your results private, but we'll let you know you failed and you're a fucking liar. Interesting. When they have to answer, do you know what reasonable doubt is? Oh my God, yes. Wow. Dead. I don't care about an IQ test. I care about, I kind of like that. That'd be funny. Maybe we can start a reality show. Juror research shows that most jurors lie in voir dire, but especially for high profile cases. Juror 12 on the Delphi case, 100% wanted to be on that. He wanted to be a juror. I was shocked that they actually picked him. You could tell, yeah. Real world jurors. We're going to give a common sense or not so common sense test. Yeah. So it's just wild going back and looking at all this stuff, all these videos. It's all right there. Bill Thompson. Let's see. I'm going to play one more clip. Rebecca, welcome. Rebecca's a YouTube member. Happy Friday, Lindsay. Yay. 17 months. Holy shit. Oh, baby 2 on the way. It makes no sense. How. Right. All of it. Chantel, $10. Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for being here to listen to me rant when, like, this stuff is. Wow, watch that about the FBI. Yeah. Crazy. Murky, what's good? That you know what's gonna be a huge shit show is this Karen Reed second trial is gonna be off the wall. You have that prosecutor, what's his name, Hank. He just lied in what he posted, and then Ted Daniels called his ass out. I loved every second of that. I'm gonna be covering that. The prosecution wants Karen Reed's parents' cell phone records. They want them to go back a decent amount to see how often she was calling them and if she called them ever during the middle of the night. And then they try to say that Karen Reed's dad gave some answer during an interview with Ted Daniels, and he's like, no, and played the blur, and then you compare it to like what the motion says, and it's like, oh God, that's so bad. Hank just like literally, boom, just got blasted. It's awesome. It was awesome to see a mainstream media guy literally took the prosecutor and blasted his ass. You don't see that every day. So if you need to go to Ted Daniels on Twitter and take a look, he posts the motion that was filed, where Hank quotes what he thinks Ted Daniels says, or what Bill Reed said, and shows the motion and then shows the clip. And it says, it's plural. It says S. And it was miswrote by Hank. And it's a big, big misspeaking by Hank. But it's so awesome to see that. Like, Ted Daniel went to his clip, said no, played it, boom, puts him on blast. So kudos to him being able to do that, and them just allowing that. I wonder if he had to get permission. Would Yuri's Matt? I don't trust cops. You are dismissed, sir. That should make me overqualified. Wait, what? Yuri, what a name. Oh, Susie High School. I like that name, Susie High School. Love the rants, aka passion. We are all just as angry. It's nice to hear actual logic over here. Tragic how rare it is. Yeah, same. Common sense is just not common. Let's see. This is the other one I wanted to show. This other video. You would just think that if you're a prosecutor, it's about like, you want to get the right person, not once, I got to make sure that I win this, even if there's everything in front of you that says that it's not true. I'm going to take one more look at this. All right, guys, welcome to the transparency. Right. Also on page 2, what I noticed is the K-bar USMC. So there's no date that Payne says. He just says the sheath was later processed. Well, when was that processed and when did you get that back? Again, there's no date on when that happened and when you received that left male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. When was that turned over for testing? And then when did you get that back? What are the dates there? There's no dates. Closing out page 2 of the affidavit. So remember, in this Franks, it's going to have to be super material. And like, they can't be just little, it's going to have to change some shit. So when you're filing this Franks and what you're going to be arguing, and that somebody did it with the, purposeful with the, they had knowledge. They had knowledge of something else. And I just think that you have all of that with AT&T. There's just no way. There's no doubt about it. Payne says as part of his investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. Now, question is, that's going to be based off of the time that they're putting the time of the crime. So don't forget that. So the way they can be sneaky about that is they're labeling the crime at a certain time. And so it's when they can put both of those 2 girls in that house. I personally believe that there's big gaps that maybe the girls aren't there. So BF's room was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. This would be consistent with what initially came out from Chief Fry, saying that Bethany was downstairs sleeping on the first floor in her bedroom. However, when you turn to page 3, which you would think would be the next paragraph, speaking about DM's whereabouts, it does not do that, and instead it says, based on numerous interviews conducted by Moscow Police Department, as well as ISP and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. So again, no mention yet of... So he's taking everything from reports. He's using police reports from the FBI, ISP, any interviews, but my guess is that he used supplemental police reports. Because I'm curious, did you use the actual interview? Because we know what a police report looks like compared to an actual interview. DM's bedroom location. Before moving on to page 3, they would have known right away that based on just the layout of the house and where everything was located, they would have known right away that Dylan's bedroom was on the second floor. Okay. So why did they think it was so imperative? Well, let me change that question. Why would it ever come out that DM and Bethany were on the first floor? Where would that come from? It would come from them. Them. The last thing I want to say about that last paragraph on page 2 is, did you, as officers, conduct phone traces with both Dylan and Bethany to corroborate any and all statements? Were their phones Cellbrite dumped? And which they were, but when did they look at? When did you look at those? Did you even consider those? Because then if you look at, you talk about what Elisa filed with some of the suppression shit, she says, why aren't you talking about the fraternities? Why aren't you talking about the sororities? Why aren't you looking into anything to do with the victims? And that kind of blew my mind. Because I don't believe that they looked into anything before December 30th. They were still just gathering information, preserving shit.
And if so, what date?
I can't wait to find out how much they would have went through before
Again,
the 30th.
for the most part on page 3, the beginning and the middle has to do with the narrative of what happened that night and where people were.
And remember, at the beginning, it was that they only went to that party from 8 to 9 out. Those are the initial reports. Is that from 8 to 9 p.m., they were at Sigma Chi. And so then they were trying then to locate, okay, what were they doing between 9 and 1:45, meaning Ethan and Xana. Those are the initial reports.
I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom of page 3. It is the third paragraph where it says DM and F and BF both made statements during interviews, so that was plural, so there was multiple interviews, that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. That means all residents were at the house by 2 a.m. and either asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m.
Who would know that? The last person to go to their room is the only person that could say that. But guess what? Compare this to the Dan Moore probable cause, and they're just writing that in. Eldora Gatchel said so much shit. Jennifer Drake said so much shit. Isaac Funderburg said so much shit. Aaliyah Sandlin said so much shit. And none of that made its way into the probable cause because it contradicts the narrative. So it's like they went with this.
This would be the first time that we hear about Xana receiving a DoorDash. I had mentioned this back a couple weeks ago that it is possible that somebody would have ordered food. That's what, we used to do when we were in college. We would order food or we would pick it up on our way, have it delivered, things like that. So,
Drunk.
Xana received, keyword there is received, a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Now, are they going based off of received? Where was the DoorDash found? DoorDash is awesome. It's all time-stamped on when you make your order in. It's going to have that timestamp, and then they take a picture, they send it to you, they let you know it's at your door. DoorDash usually leaves it at your door versus knocking and waiting. I think that is very important with this case. Again, they use the word received. So this is with the exception of Xana, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. Going on to page 4, DM.
How would you have to clear the DoorDash driver? Would you just say, can you get, oh, well, you're a girl, so, oh, we're looking for a male, so you're cleared. Do you think they asked the DoorDash driver, can we get your DNA? Just curious.
Stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast.
Now, this is where it's amazing. Who goes to bed at 4 a.m. but is woken at 4 a.m.? Nobody. You can't fall asleep. You don't go to sleep and wake up at the same time, y'all. Just letting you know.
Side of the second floor. Now, this is interesting language to me. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. That would...
So a piece of validating work here. Myself and Bella did this, and give props here. Here you go. This was before the PCA. This was about a month, maybe 20 days before the PCA.
It's my job to determine the manner and mechanism of death.
And it's law enforcement's job to determine the facts of this case. University of Idaho murder, Dylan's second floor bedroom. Okay. Dylan was in there October 28th, 2022, getting ready. Well, that was uploaded October 28th, 2022, because that was a Halloween party. All of the evidence in this video came from digital media posts by the residents of 1122 King Road. And so I was like, why are they lying about where Dylan's bedroom is? Why are they lying about where Dylan went to sleep that night? You know, or better yet, why would Dylan go to sleep downstairs if her bedroom is on the second floor? Like, that's really kind of sus that on the night of a murder that you just happen to go to sleep down there. Did you have prior knowledge of something? This is kind of like, it just looks sus, right? Which bedroom was Dylan's bedroom? I knew that bedroom 2 wasn't Dylan's based on the body cam that we obtained, because you could see through the through the blinds or the curtains. You could look through that and you could see like that was just like a catch-all room, or like no way it was at anybody's bedroom. And school had already started, so it'd have been like, why would Dylan move downstairs? You know, between the time of September 1st and November 12th. Trust me, as a college kid, that's the last thing you want to do is move your shit. Right there. So I show that clip right there. There's golf clubs in there, but the clip was used to show that there's nobody. That is not somebody's bedroom. And then this is the second floor. Okay, so I want people to see this really quick. This is a really good way to check out the, okay, right here. Bedroom 3, we know that that's, Dylan's. Now watch, because the house just can kind of get like mixed up. Bedroom 3, so what ends up being right above bedroom 3 is actually Maddie's room. And so it's interesting to me when Dylan says that she thought what she heard was Kaylee playing with the dog. Okay. Kaylee's room is is not the bedroom above her, and the dog was in Kaylee's room. Okay. So she thought that what she heard was the dog. That would have been action going on in, as you can see right here, would have been above the kitchen. Okay. The dog's in the bedroom above the kitchen. Bedroom 5, though, is where the two, Maddie and Kaylee were. But in order for her to be saying that she thought she heard what was Kaylee playing with the dog, that would tell me that she like heard the dog. You know? And I just think that's interesting. It's like, Dylan, were you in the kitchen when you heard this? When you got up out of bed, you just opened up your door 3 times, but you never walked out of your room? Makes no sense. No one's going to believe that shit. I just wouldn't. But you guys, they need Dylan's story because Dylan's the only way, okay? So think about this. If you're telling the police, no, I slept downstairs, I slept downstairs. We know you slept in your room. Because the police are like, we need her to say that she saw. I mean, you got to give us something here. Did he have bushy eyebrows? What was going on? You know, Dylan is so important for 2 reasons. She's putting a timestamp to what the time that they need in between the car arriving and the car leaving, and to give some type of a description. Like, and if you guys think that happened in the first interview, no fucking way. No way. I call no way. If people are lazy nowadays, you wouldn't even get up out of bed. There's no way you get up. If you're going to get up out of bed, you're going to get up out of bed and, you just don't go to your door. You're not doing anything. That's the whole point, is you would never get up out of your bed and just walk to your door and open it. You aren't doing anything. That does nothing. You would not do that 3 times in a row. That defies all logic. All logic. Whoopsies. So then I think there's such an argument to be said that, Dylan, were you in the kitchen at the time that you heard this, that you were up? So we laid all of this out to literally because I was like, hell no, man. I was like, why are they lying? Why are they lying and saying Dylan slept downstairs? I was like, listen, I'll give them that Dylan was sleeping downstairs, but we need to put this out there that Dylan's bedroom was on the 2nd floor. So why, on the night there was a murder, the 4 of them, would miraculously this girl not sleep in her room?
Tell me that she made a statement after that. This was her original statement. She said that she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the 2nd floor. Now, maybe the language should have been different and she went to bed, but what this is telling me...
Look at that. That's a great view. That's her door being opened over there to all the way to the right. And so this would be like the way that the killer would have been walking back from Xana's room. Okay. Do you see this angle? Do you see this angle? Do you see, I put this up there for a reason. Do you see now, picture how bright it is with that good vibes sign. Okay. There is no way in hell that somebody that just stabbed 4 people, okay, starts walking this way and literally sees, because it's lit up, that door open and a human being standing there and does not kill them, just like they killed Ethan and Xana. There is no way that a jury is going to believe. How can you believe? This is the picture that you need right here. You are seeing, and then Dylan's statement is, yeah, he walked straight towards me. I was frozen. And then he just continued to go. Then he went out towards the right, towards the kitchen. And she didn't notice that he had a knife or that he was bloody. Do you guys see this? This is impossible.
DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom. Well, what did she, if that's what she originally did,
Then what she
did
do?
she say at a different point in time that she did? If this was the original version.
See, this wouldn't be the way that you'd be walking. Okay, you're not going to walk like a straight line and then be like a robot and then make a, so like this angle. That's not the angle that you'd be walking towards. Back over there towards the stairs and out towards the kitchen. The angle is best seen right here.
That she made a statement after that. This was her original statement. She said that she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. Now, maybe the language should have been different, and she went to bed.
Right there. That's your...
But what this is telling me, DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom. Well, what did she, if that's what she originally did, what did she say at a different point in time that she did? If this was the original version. Also, at this point, I want to state that Truth and Transparency brought it to you guys first, said 100 that Dylan was occupying
now,
a bedroom 3.
You guys, this part is so important. If I'm on the jury, this window is huge. This window is so big. Brian Kohlberger or any killer, if they said that he parked back where they're saying he parked, you would pass this. You would pass this. This big old window. You would pass this. Okay?
The second floor, and provided ample proof of that with timestamps, dates, and things like that. Moving on. Dylan.
It's also another chance for the killer or killers to see that somebody would have been in that room. So not only is it just that she could have seen him out the window, he's seeing activity moving around in there. Like,
DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m., by which she stated sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the 3rd floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone."
That's what her room looked like on October 16th. So just a month before the murders, okay? You see that? So take a look at those curtains. Because of those plants, you're not closing those curtains. You guys understand this, right? You are not closing those curtains because of the way that your plant situation, your boots, all the shit that you have on that windowsill, you're not closing those. Even more so a reason to say, him not to see in there, her not to see out. If in fact you're in this room.
Here. A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Xana's phone showed this could also have been Xana,
Woohoo!
as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Now, I have so many things to say about this first paragraph.
So many things.
That's not only just the original quote-unquote language, but at 4 a.m., Dylan says that she is awoken at approximately 4 a.m. Well,
She's awoken at 4. What time did you go to bed, Dylan?
There are text messages, or I shouldn't say text messages. There is social media where Dylan is placing on a social media platform pictures of her roommates at the timestamp of 3:33.
But those could be at different, you know, the screenshots that we have look like it's 3:33 a.m. Okay. But depending on what time zone you were in when you took the screenshots. So I want to preface that.
So that tells me that Dylan would have had to have fallen asleep between, just a little bit after 3:33 a.m., okay, and 4. But just like how you would have taken Xana's phone to dump it and to get the information, you would have then also taken, Dylan's phone and did a cell breakdown.
Well, let's hope, right? Or when did they?
And got all that information. So is her phone, Dylan's phone, indicative of being left alone and her being able to be, quote unquote, sleeping and to be woken up then at 4? Next, she said.
And usually right nowadays, like a college kid, I would say if they're going to even walk out of their room, 9 times, if not 10 out of 10 times, they're grabbing their phone. I mean, we do it as adults. Okay. So I think her phone would be a pretty good indication of like her steps or whatever, if she was, depending on what type of device she had.
Payne says that he has to make a note that says when, DMs.
Okay. So this is what I think is interesting. This would be complete and utter speculation. And I don't understand why the hell it's in a PCA. So DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the south side of the 2nd floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated. So DM stated what she stated sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms. Interesting. There is no way that Dylan said that she was in one of the upstairs bedrooms. That would be twisted right there and changed by Payne. Guarantee you what Dylan would have said is, I will literally put $1,000 on it, is that the way Dylan would word this is that, well, I woke up, I don't know. I woke up to, it was like a bunch of noise, like a bunch of trampling or something upstairs. I don't know. I thought maybe Kaylee was playing, with the dog or something in her bedroom. And then he's going to say in one of the upstairs bedrooms. Why? Because first of all, we know that Murphy, untouched, wasn't in any blood. Okay. Kaylee's room, untouched, no blood in there. And so but what she would have heard would be right up above her. And that's actually Maddie's room. But it's interesting that she talks about the dog, because the only reason I would think that it would be a dog is if I heard a bark or like the chain, of the dog, like rustling, if I could hear that. If I could hear the dog scratching on the door, going like, when a dog, you guys know what I'm talking about, when they're trying to get out of a room if the door is closed, the paws on it, like. But for me to say that I would think the word dog, not like humans, why wouldn't I think that maybe 2 people were having sex upstairs? I'm just saying, if like it depends on what's the difference between that and like, I would never say that. I'd have to hear a dog in order to say a dog. Okay? I'd have to hear a dog. And so something that's interesting for me is that you would, as a intruder, if you're hearing a dog make any noise, like that kind of startles you. You don't want to, like, people don't want to fuck with dogs. Anyways, just something interesting.
States that when she is
But then Payne wants to assign just speculation here when he says, a short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of "there's someone here." Now, how in the fucking world? I think that she knows what people's voices sound like. Okay, if she would have heard Xana say that, she would have said Xana. She knows her roommates' voices. Where does a police officer get off then this next sentence, which is a review of records obtained from a forensic download of, Xana's phone shows that this could have also been her. No, it couldn't have been. You just can't say that. That's pure speculation. It could. Well, don't you think Dylan knows what Xana sounds like? Don't you think she knows what Kaylee sounds like? But then I said to myself, why is it so important that Payne even mention this? Because Kaylee can't still be alive at 412 because that fucks up some shit? Is that the problem? If Kaylee's still alive at 412, that fucks up a lot of shit, doesn't it?
Approximately waking up at 4, and it sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedroom, which were located on the 3rd floor. I think that that's interesting that he has to say which were located on the 3rd floor, because originally, like I said, if she's saying at one point in time that she was sleeping downstairs on the 1st level, then that's why they would have to say when she's talking about upstairs.
Boom. I remind the audience here that, wait a second, if we're going off of where Dylan truly really was, she would have been on the 1st floor. Okay, but y'all made her move up to that, for your fucking fuckerage. So if she in fact was on the 1st floor sleeping, the shit that she would have heard rustling around, could that in fact be Ethan and Xana being murdered? Okay. Cha-cha-cha. Like, I mean, this is just wild.
Stairs, they have to specify that they mean the bedrooms on the 3rd floor, because she was trying to say at one point that she was sleeping on the 1st floor. Again, the language in this PCA is why I am saying what I'm saying, and why I think the defense will be saying the same thing. Continuing on, a short time later, again, no timestamp, DM said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." So she hears what she thought was Kaylee and the...
Let me tell you, when you say, "I think someone's here," you say that when, like, I would never say, if somebody was already in my house, "I think someone's here." No, you say, "I think someone's here," because you are seeing out the window. Okay, someone knocked on your door, somebody rang your doorbell, you see lights pull up and they shine right into your fucking bedroom, all right? I think someone's here. Like, if somebody's already in your house, you would say, "Who is that? Hey, who is that? Hey, is that you? Hey, Jack, is that," you know what I mean? Like, but "I think someone's here" is what you say when somebody is not in your home yet. "Hey, I think the pizza man's here. Hey, I think, I think so, I think someone's here. I don't know. I thought I heard something. I thought I heard a car pull up, I think, I mean, what?
Dog playing. And again, she's going to be asked numerous questions on that. Would Kaylee normally play with her dog at 4 a.m.? When she hears Kaylee, what she thinks is someone saying, "There's someone here." When the DoorDash guy came, did he ring the doorbell? Do they just take...
Also, we're going with the fact that they want to put this shit at 4 a.m. Could this be that Dylan originally went to bed and was woken up when Kaylee and Maddie came home at 1:56? And the answer is that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And that's why when she was woken up, it was to Kaylee playing with the dog. I mean, these cops are such fucks. And I saw it in the more shit. They will take shit and spin it to whatever they need it to be. And then they're going to say, "Well, no," because then she was confused. She didn't know if that was the time that she woke up at, this time or that time, And think about that. This is unbelievable.
Pictures. Did you hear the DoorDash guy? Did you hear somebody go down?
Right there. That's your view. Dylan. Right there. That's what the killer would see. And Dylan's alive today? You would leave a witness after you just killed 4 people, stabbed them to death? You got to be shitting me. And then it's lit up with that good vibe sign. And then there's Dylan just standing in the middle of the doorway. And Brian or the killer or killers just walked right past. Like, I'm tired. I can't do it again. Oh, shit.
Downstairs and get the DoorDash and come upstairs with it. Things like that. A review of the records obtained from a forensic download of Xana's phone showed this could have also been Xana, as her cellular phone indicated she was like.
So then you're going to have to say, hey, Dylan, did you not know who it was because you were fucking hammered? That you couldn't tell whose voice it was? Were you drunk? You get what I'm saying? Like, but Payne wants to say, oh, well, but because of the phone and because TikTok was on. TikTok runs. If I fall asleep and I don't have TikTok, but okay, like YouTube Shorts, same fucking thing. It's going to continue to play over and over and over and over and over. You guys fall asleep to me on YouTube? And oh my God, she was watching YouTube at 5 a.m. No, she wasn't. My live just happened to be 5 hours. She watched me at midnight, okay? They're like, no, dude, that girl was up watching YouTube until like 4:50 in the morning watching that crazy broad Lana. Oh, man. And it's just like, wait, where do you get that? Look it, she's on the app. Okay. Get out of here. But you can, this is what cops do though. They will take anything and turn it to needing it to be what they need it to be. It's just, that's what they do. Because they can say that it's plausible, right? This is a, but now it's supposed to be a sworn statement though. So if he has other information though, that actually contradicts this, he is supposed to cough that up. But what you do is you don't look any further and you stop looking so that you can just say this type of shit. Well, hey, no, I don't want to look. I don't want to know anything more. Because then I can write it just like this, even though there's something different out there that would totally contradict this. But if I don't have it, then, gotta go with this. Then I'm not lying.
Awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Also, she had just gotten food delivered and received at 4. So she's awake. Was she eating in the living room? Does she normally eat in her bedroom? Where was this bag of food then found the next day?
Boom. It's going to be important. It's going to be very, very important. Did she order for 2 people? Did she just order for herself? Did she order for Ethan?
The timestamp of 3:33. So that tells me that Dylan would have had to have fallen asleep between.
Oh, wait, hold on.
When she's talking about upstairs, they have to specify that they a second time. So that so she hears what she thought was Kaylee and the dog playing. And again, she's going to be asked numerous questions on that. Would Kaylee normally play with her dog at 4 a.m.? When she hears Kaylee.
You guys, this is the only thing that matters in the PCA, this time frame, because that's what it coincides with the white car. Like if there's anything that's out there that can contradict these 8 to 10 minutes, 12 minutes, however, whatever it ends up, what does it end up being? But this, if Brian Kohlberger has cellular information that says that he is somewhere else with his device during this time, it's curtains. Because the same data that could exonerate you, that could put you away for the rest of your life or kill you, should be able to exonerate you, right? The same information.
what she thinks is someone saying, there's someone here. When the DoorDash guy came, did he ring the doorbell? Do they just take pictures? Did you hear the DoorDash guy? Did you hear somebody go downstairs and get the DoorDash and come upstairs with it? Things like that. A review of the records obtained from a forensic download of Xana's phone showed this could have also been Xana, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Also, she had just gotten food delivered and received at 4. So she's awake. Was she eating in the living room? Does she normally eat in her bedroom? Where was this bag of food then found the next day? Moving on to paragraph 2 of page 4. DM states she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time. So that tells
Okay. I'll just let it play.
me that she had her door closed the first time when she would have opened it. When she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. So the first time she opens it, and that's when she thought that.
I want to point out what I read up top there. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. I put right there, door closed or open, but also I thought I wrote it. It might be on my other one. I've also put, you notice how they said that DM stated that she looked out of her bedroom? It doesn't say her door. It doesn't say her window, right? Because this goes with what I'm saying. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. Okay. If this is Kaylee, please understand that. If this is Kaylee, and this is exactly what I would be going with if I was the defense. Kaylee went to bed at 2:52, right? She either went to bed or she's being killed because she never uses her phone again after 2:52, right? And if she heard Kaylee's voice, that means that she heard Kaylee before 2:52. That white Hyundai Elantra that they've labeled a sedan out in Pullman, okay? It is impossible for the sedan to get on over to Moscow that is transporting Brian Kohlberger, because you've already went with your whole, theory of what time this is at. But if I'm the defense, I move it to 2:20 or 2:52 for this exact purpose. Because of Dylan. Dylan said she heard Kaylee. Kaylee is asleep by 2:52. The only way that you are hearing Kaylee and Kaylee say, I think someone's here, is before 2:52. Which provides you with a totally different killer or killers. And Dylan being drunk and high off her ass, you're going to have to prove that Dylan would even know, okay, that she, what do you call it? That she even knew what the hell was going on. Remember, I'm in a frozen steak shot. So then you don't know anything. Okay. Now, with the DoorDash, it says you received it. Okay. Based off of when DoorDash says that they dropped it there. How are they going off of Xana received her DoorDash? What are they going off of? The only thing that you could really truly go off of is either A, the timestamp of DoorDash saying they dropped it off, right? And there's a picture of it at your door. Or B, you have that timestamp of the DoorDash, and then you see pictures of the crime scene of that same, box or bag in a different part of the house then. So clearly it was moved, right? But now you're going to have to prove that Xana moved it and that the killer didn't, or somebody else didn't, or when the people that came over the next morning, that they didn't grab it and throw it in the house. Oh, you drunk assholes, you guys fall asleep before you guys even got your DoorDash. You know how many times that happens? And when you're ordering DoorDash late at night, it usually takes a long time to get there. So could I see Xana ordering her DoorDash at 2:40 or 2:50 and not getting it until 4:00 in the morning? Absolutely. Because that's what they'll tell you all the time. It's like 45 to 55 minutes for delivery. But that should all be time stamped, right? But I seen it in the Moore case where this whole time of the crime is not the time of the crime, and they knew it, but they just went with it. So because it fits what they need to push their narrative. Or, hey, we can stay with the time of the crime because we have Brian Culver's phone, and what he's doing is over completely, in a different state. And here, this is his location, and it's right here on the map. But I just have a feeling that they would have known some of this when they were trying to get ahead of shit, that they're specifically picking a certain window for a reason. But that's just me. I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens here with all the digitals, the digital world. What are all these digital devices telling and saying? And can stuff, just because something's on doesn't mean that you're awake or you're alive, But if the phone's physically moving, I think that it's pretty reasonable to think that the person that's the user of that phone is moving it, is walking with it.
She heard somebody commenting about being in the house. Then the second time, DM states she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, it's okay, I'm going to help you.
Do you guys understand how in the world did Dylan hear this type of shit and not hear screaming? Somebody screaming bloody murder, but she's able to make out what's being said up on the third floor. And then that is not logical to me, that you could make out these sentences, but you wouldn't hear somebody, ah! Are you out of your mind? Anybody that has a kid, I have a kid. All right. Your kid's playing, everything's fine. But as soon as you hear that scream, kind of when your kid falls and they skin their knee really bad, or, and they that, what I'm talking about. It's that awful, that it's pain. It's fright. It's this isn't, people trying to scare each other with the fraternities and the sororities and where, what they all do. It's a totally different type of a scream. It's awful as a parent when you hear your kid.
Now, what I believe is going to be said in court is that the reason that DM did not go and inquire about this is because she thought the male voice was Ethan and that he was comforting his girlfriend, and that's something that would happen because they would argue and things like that, just like any normal couple in college when you're drinking and you're arguing. And so that's not going to
fly. But that's not going to fly. Because I think Ethan is drunk off his ass. And so then you have to ask yourself again, so does Dylan not know the voice of Ethan? She doesn't know what Kaylee's voice sounds like. She doesn't know anybody's voice and what they sound like.
She is going to be saying as to why she didn't go and inquire more about
somebody crying.
The following that she just said. Approximately at 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 112 King Road, a residence immediately to the north of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security...
Okay, and I did that bark test. I am telling you, they need to go get that dog that was living right next door, okay, in those Queen apartments, and they need that dog to bark, and they need to compare it to that on that whatever this barking is, and they should have, recorded Murphy barking. Because I personally believe that the dog that's barking is the one that's located right next to the house in the Queen apartment. Right when you walk up, that dog will start barking. And I did a test of it, and it's money. Again, Dylan never once says that she hears the dog ever bark. That's not in the probable cause. Nowhere in the probable cause does she say, or is it put here that she's hearing the dog bark, like meaning Murphy.
The camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Xana's bedroom. Now, in the PCA, they put this paragraph after, in between the next paragraph, which is going to be about DM stating...
I think it's out of place, okay? For me, I personally think that this middle part right here is out of place. It should be the next paragraph, but that's just me. I caught it back when it first came out.
That she opened her door for the third time. So when I first read this, I said, well, why isn't the DM stating that she opened her door for the third time? Why isn't that above at approximately 4:17 a.m.? It's because this is the state's version. Okay. Now the next paragraph.
Cut, copy, paste, baby.
Final paragraph of,
copy,
of
paste.
Page 4.
Remember I told you guys this was cut, copy, paste? Cut, copy, paste. What do they say in the suppression? Cut, copy, paste. Cut, copy, paste. Fuck, man. This is all cut, copy, paste.
Dylan DM stated that she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure.
Because before she just thought she heard crying. This time, the third time, now she knows she heard crying. That is absolutely unfucking fathomable. The reason she opened the door the second time is because she thought she heard crying. And what she thought she heard, I'm here to help you. Okay? Just like when Brian Kober was arrested, he said, who else got arrested?
Clad in black clothing and a mask.
You're telling me Dylan Mortensen said the words clad in black? For somebody who's in a frozen shock state, in the language that Dylan said, or that they said that Dylan said, is unbelievable. It is not possibly believable.
Mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking toward her. Now, this is where does not make sense, because just before that, DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying. Now she's saying that she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying. So they're using a little, bit of difference there with the language. they're saying what she thought was crying.
You guys, Dylan isn't the liar. I am telling you how this works. They take words that you say, okay, or you're trying to think about something and you're like, I don't know. I don't know if it was then that I did this. I don't know if it was earlier. We were drinking all day. Officer, you don't understand. Well, if you don't start speaking, it looks like you think I'm involved? You think I did this? Why didn't you call the police right away? Because I didn't hear anything. I didn't know. I was so fucking wasted.
And now she is saying the third time that she opened it, she heard. It was after she actually heard the crying.
They just put words in your
saw
mouth.
a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth, nose, and this figure was walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built, with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a quote-unquote frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room right after.
She was opening and closing this door, and you don't think a killer who just killed 4 people heard that shit? The fuck out of here.
Seeing the male, DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads him.
Do you hear that question or that sentence? DM stated that she did not say that she knew the male. Excuse me? Wait, what? Wait, say that one more time. Write that one more time, Payne. What are you talking about?
Investigators to believe.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Hey, Ann Taylor, this is Miss Oriani calling. Just want to give you guys a shout out. First of all, why the fuck didn't you follow the rules of the district court and the magistrate division for the 4th Judicial District, number 1? I am so pissed that you would even allow Bill Thompson to try to one-up yo fine ass. Anyways, hi. Just want to make sure that you guys are, having a great Friday. Hopefully you guys, get your shit together. All right. And stop giving Annie Potts over here, heart attacks. Because then she calls me and then I got to deal with her heart attacks. Okay. And just, friendly advice, tell Jay to stop being such a smartass in his writing, because Mr. Hippler, Judge Hippler, he's not fond of that shit.
That the murderer left the scene.
You guys, that is as tight as prom night right there. Okay? Okay. Look at this shit. You think Dylan opening up her door 3 times right there, that she doesn't walk her happy ass at least one step out of that room? Get out of here. Then I showed you guys the angle. Oh my God, you're at the supermarket. Oh, can you pick me up a steak? Ooh, love you. Mwah. Look at this. All right. You know what that one latent print would be from? Dylan taking one step the fuck out of that room. Right? And then doing a pirouette and going back in her room. Right? But there is no way that the killer or killers do not kill this broad. If this story is true. If this story is true, unless the killer is blind, okay? Which I don't think the killer's blind, right? You are seeing Dylan Mortensen or whoever is standing right here in this doorway. You aren't just walking past them. And you're not tired. You're not going to say, oh my God, I was so tired. I couldn't even kill her. And I just had to get the hell out of there and hope that she didn't call 911. And then it's almost like this. Wow, how lucky is Brian Kohlberger that, or whoever the killer is, right? That he just walks past her and that this broad doesn't call 911.
Now, based on that final paragraph
Okay.
there, I have, again, lots to say, as I believe that paragraph basically is telling us the order of whether it was the third floor first, whether it was the second floor first. And based on this,
Look
and
at
the
that.
whole
Look
thud
at that.
at 417,
You guys, it's so small.
and then wanting it to be known that that thud was
That person, whoever killed, in my opinion, knew the layout of this house.
just 50 feet from Xana's room, meaning like her outside of her wall. It is, in my opinion, that they are basically telling us that it was the third floor first and the second floor was then last. And then because if you're in Dylan's room and you open up the door, now Dylan would have to be on the stand to testify. When you opened up the door, did you just peek out? Did you open up the door all the way? Did you step out?
You guys, who, here's my door. If I'm going to open my door, I'm opening my door. And, I'm opening my door. There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing to be, because you have no reason to fear anything, right? So you're not going like, wait. Like, you're just opening your door to walk out, okay? Especially if I'm like, that bastard Ethan, if he even, got into it with Xana and started calling her names again, made her cry. So I'm just opening up my door. If I am opening my door to peek out, which that's what you want to get, you want to trap Dylan and get her to say that, because there is nothing to be in fear of. You should just be opening your door, going out, but who gets out of bed just to walk to their door, open it, and then do absolutely fucking nothing? I don't see anything. This house is tiny. Go back down. Get back up. Open it up again. Close the door. Go back down. Get back up. Open the door. That is just not believable. That's just not believable. Sorry, just not believable. But you know what? Jurors will believe it, because I swear they must give jurors hey, we got all these vitamins we give you guys when you come. And then I think these pills are just like tard pills, and everyone's just tards out.
Because based on where her room is and that door is, and that she would actually see somebody walking towards her, and then past her, that's going to be interesting to demonstrate and to actually
Stupid
see
pills.
and show you guys what that looks like. And I plan on doing that here. So moving on with that, just to clean up page 4 here.
Clean it up.
If I
Clean
was
it
the
up,
defense,
Oriani.
I would be asking
If I was
what
the
kind
defense-
of camera, brand, make, model of the 1122 King Road.
Did you guys just hear what I said? So genius right here. I said, if I was the defense, I would get the brand name of the make, model of that, what do you call it? The camera. And I would do a reenactment of this. I would want to see if that picked that shit up. Okay? Like, you expect me to believe? Do you understand that that camera then would pick up if you and your boyfriend or girlfriend were fighting fucking whatever?
Here, if I was the defense, I would be asking what kind of camera, brand, make, model of the 1122 King Road, the people next to them. What kind of camera was that picked up this distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud.
Reenact that shit.
Also, a dog can also be heard barking numerous times, starting at 4:17 a.m. Well, I can't believe I'm ever going to say this, but if that is a clear bark and you have like a couple of them back to back to back to back to back, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but dogs have special barks. Like,
yeah, everybody's
so
different.
would Murphy in this situation have to
Be-
bark to
be
see
called
if
to
it
the
would
stand.
match the barking of the inside dog where he, where Murphy was? Or was it one of the dogs that, live around there that's outside and happens to see a figure and barks because they see a figure? Also, what the defense should be looking at is in questioning, where was this man in clad black? Where was he coming from? I get that she's saying, and it's in the probable cause, that quote unquote, she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Well, from what way? Where was this person walking from? Okay. And then there at the end, the male walked towards the back sliding glass door. And then kind of what is missing from the remaining page that I think should be in page 4. And it could be just because they're just leaving it out. They don't have to put everything in there. But Dylan never once says in any of this that she heard any screaming. She doesn't say that she heard a dog barking at all. She doesn't say that she hears anybody going up or down the steps.
Isn't this wild, though? Think about this. Nobody going up and down steps, because you would have had to go up the stairs, then down the stairs, right? No barking, no screaming, no stairs. Absolutely unbelievable.
And she doesn't say, like, in what kind of direction. She never saw anybody until that last door opening, and that was somebody walking towards her, and the direction just isn't there, which will...
Because technically, because they didn't put it, she could have actually come out of the room, is what I'm getting at. Did Dylan actually leave the room at any of these times? Okay? Just because they don't say it doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's another thing that I've learned from the way that these lovely Idahoans write up their PCAs.
Come out. Also, we know that Moscow Police Department has body cams, and I do believe that every single one of the...
So the combination of DM statements, law enforcement reviews of forensic downloads, all these things, we believe that the time of the crime occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m.
These interviews was audio and video recorded. So
during the process of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. Now, a latent shoe print, just so you guys know, there's 3 different ways to catch like prints, and latent would mean that it's not an obvious print. You can't like see it from the naked eye, just so you know.
All of these interviews and the notes and everything, that's part of the discovery, and that will go to the defense. And so out of these numerous interviews, it's going to be interesting to see if and when any of the statements change.
Look at this part right here, Oriani. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos, remember? In the King Road area, in quotes. They did a canvas, a neighborhood canvas, really because the Gonsalveses were pissed because we know at least one video that y'all didn't get. So this video canvas, just so you guys know what video canvas means, that means anywhere that you go in the area. It does not just mean like your next door neighbors or like 2 houses down or 3 houses down. A video canvas would be, your any houses and streets over there. It could be, 5 down. You should have been video and neighborhood canvassing the damn sororities and fraternities. Okay. But this video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous And that's why they put in quotes. It's part of the suppression. Numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. Payne says, I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. Really? I cannot wait to see who was reviewing that. Leslie Lehman, come on down, Leslie.
Page 5 of the affidavit starts with Payne saying that the combination of DM statements.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Where's that last part right there?
Plus to destroy it,
Right
go
there.
through it, and
Look
do
at that right there. A video or a review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1. So remember I told you what the big part here is that they're going to have to, the state, the burden is to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the Moscow, Idaho sedan that is seen circling the house 4 times prior to going in and committing this quad hom is in fact the same sedan that they have on surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington. An hour and 20 minutes before that. Get out of here.
What I'm doing here today. The next paragraph says, during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene.
Not one, but they did 2 processings of the crime scene. Gonna be very, very important in the trial.
By the ISP forensic team. So not the first, but the second. And I make a pretty big note about that as, how did you not catch this the first time? And because this...
If you are processing the scene, not once, but twice, my question now is, what was moved? Did you move the bodies when you processed the scene the second time? You know, I don't know the answer to that. I'm just thinking, like, if you process it once and then you process it again, was the scene altered in any way, shape, or form, which would be the removal of the bodies? Okay. And if I'm to guess, if I was to give you my best educated guess, the answer to that would be yes. The answer would be that yes, we processed it before the removal of the bodies, and then we processed it a second time after the removal of the bodies. That's just my guess.
Probable cause that Payne has written up really, really, really is lacking in dates. So it would be...
Payne's probable cause that he wrote really, 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 really lacking in dates here.
Nice here, and they're going to have that in, discovery, which is during the processing of the crime.
So I'm over here saying, don't worry, guys. Ann Taylor's going to get that in discovery, though, because she's going to have all these reports with all these dates. We've seen every freaking hearing. Ann Taylor and company just keep saying, we need the dates. We need these initial reports. We need the search warrant. We don't need the return. We need what was served upon. When did they go and get the search warrant? What was the date? What were they looking for? Dates. Here. But now it makes sense as to why there are no dates in this probable cause that's 19 pages.
Crime scene, date, timestamp, everything that you're taking, your samples, what time they were, done, all of that's going to be on there. So that second processing of the crime scene, that's also going to be dated, timestamped, because it could be something that, hey, we just came back the next day because guess what? We have to go to sleep at some point.
We ran out of time.
Moving on. Again, during that process, though, they found this shoe print, and it was just outside the door of DM's bedroom. Okay, so they used their, all their special stuff
Oh, there's special
And
stuff.
it detected a shoe print, showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of Vans. Vans is a type of shoe. And again, it was
Do you guys know that shoe prints, if it's a full print, you measure it and it has a ta-da, a measurement, a motherfucking measurement. You would take a little bitty ruler that you got and learned about how to use it in first grade. You would apply that ruler and you would lay it flat next to the print. And you would take a picture of it and then you would be able to say, here's how wide it is, here's how long it is. Here is your affidavit for the arrest of a man. What's the size of the print?
just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located.
Don't you think that that would be kind of important? If I was a judge, I would say, wait a second, you guys have this print here. What's the shoe print? What's the size? Oh, it's just a partial. Sorry. What? Wild. This can't possibly help you arrest anybody. Why is it in the probable cause for the arrest of Brian? But you're also supposed to put things that could actually, go against it. But there's nothing there. It doesn't say anything about this. It doesn't say, hey, yep, it's consistent with being a size 12 men's, whatever.
On second floor.
Get a taint team in here.
And see, they have to put that in parentheses, again, right after talking about DM's bedroom located on second floor, because of what? All of this stuff surrounding DM, talking about, and the police putting it out that DM was on the first floor because she went to bed, and they went downstairs to their first floor bedrooms. So even here in the probable cause, page 5, after again talking about DM's bedroom, they have to put in parentheses here, located on second floor. Interesting, huh? So this tells me very, very strongly, guys, there are multiple statements from DM, one being that she slept downstairs and one being that she slept upstairs. So it's going to be interesting. Again, this is my opinion, and it's going to be interesting to see this unfold as far as her statements go, because she's going to be a strong witness for the state. At the end of that paragraph, Payne says that this is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. Path of travel. Well, I hate to burst everybody's bubble, but DM owns Vans too. Notice how they didn't talk about what size the shoe print was or anything like that? Yeah, there's a reason. Also, I disagree with Payne here when he says that this is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. They never talk about the path of travel, okay? She says that he walks towards her. Well, she never says where she's at when he does this. Okay?
Oh, Lana, boom.
That's never stated in this probable cause. Also, where he's coming from, where she's at, everything like that. So the term of path of travel is 100% not verified in this probable cause. There is no path of travel that's been talked about. A departure, possibly. And again, the reason this is important is because which way is the sole of the shoe pointing? Whatever you have there as your one shoe print, which way is it, is the top of the shoe, the bottom of the shoe, the sole of the shoe, the heel of the shoe, all that stuff. Where is it? What direction? And again, that is not said here in the probable cause. Now we get to, this is actually what I feel like my strength is, part of the investigation, which is dealing with digital evidence. So on page 5, as part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as video canvasses, they were conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvas was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed, Payne says, I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. Again, he says, as part of the investigation, an extensive search. He does not say when the date that this began, the date that they obtained each video. It will be, though, dated and time-stamped with, the chain of custody and all of that. And that's going to...
We find out that it's like that Anne's asking for all of that. She's like, where do I get these videos? Who would have these videos, Payne? You would want to talk to the, evidence technician, who took the videos in.
Be so important for Ann Taylor. This part is so important for Ann Taylor in terms of when law enforcement got what dates, what timestamps, who got the stuff. This is going to be crucial for Ann Taylor, in my opinion. All right, so a review of camera footage, this is going to close out page 5. A review of camera footage indicates that a white sedan, it'll be called Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Snyder Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared Suspect Vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. I do believe that gas station was home to one of the stills that we all saw. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of Suspect Vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show Suspect Vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Walenta Drive. Based off of my experience, Payne says, as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review,
the reason this video is tits, guys, is because if you try to do some of this stuff now, you can't. This stuff is blocked by Google. So this stuff you can't go and get right now because they blocked stuff and it's scratched out and whatever. So this portion of the video is actually like it's like a vintage, just want to let you guys know that.
View of the video, there are only a few
Look at that up there.
Cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Now, here he says, upon review of the video, he does not say plural, so he's only using one video to track the 1122 King Road residence, in my opinion, based on his wording. Again, upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Again, not sure if he means which road he's talking about, if he means this area, but we're going to find out. This next paragraph on page 6 is very, very important for the defense, in my opinion. This paragraph states on page 6, Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a fourth time, approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Again, on this fourth time doing this about, it can be seen driving eastbound, then it's stopping up. You can't go, it's not letting me go past the 500 Queen. It's like right there because it goes up and back around the house. And that's what it means by when it says it's driving back down westbound because it's coming back down the hill. So it's just not letting me go back over there. But all of this, how much time do you think it takes to do this beginning at 4:04 when it's seen on the camera? That it has to go past it, come back down. Then it attempts to get, parked. Then go.
This is before Linda Lane was released.
Goes down to where the intersection of King and Queen is, and does that 3-point turn, and then it comes back up eastbound, and then it's not seen again until 4:20. In this probable cause, it's going to not mention that last timestamp of, okay, well, what timestamp do you have when you don't see it anymore? What time is that? Because this plays heavily into how long do you think that this would take to then get out of your vehicle, then make entry into the home, locate all 4 victims, brutally murder them with a knife, and then leave. Get in your car, and then rush out of there where it says that the suspect vehicle is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20. At a high rate of speed. The next time it is seen on a camera is when it's heading and it's traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. And then Officer Payne says, based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame of any other cameras. I believe that the suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Constaga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Except that would not be the fastest route to go. The next paragraph, which begins page 7, talks about the forensics and the FBI utilizing their tools and experience.
Their experience of fucking violating our rights, Lana.
To take a still picture and pick the make and model.
Oh.
And then...
Oh, God. Yes. Lana, bring it in. Show them. Show them what you got. Okay, I can show them what I got. Video. Suspect video. Pop-up videos. Here we go. Videos. Oh, wait. I know which one you want me to show. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. for 2:45 a.m., someone places a DoorDash order for Xana, or Xana does it herself, and they wanted to say it was the Jack in the Box. I think it's Taco Bell. DoorDash driver picks up the order from 310 Northeast Stadium Way. If it is in fact the Jack in the Box, just saying. Okay. DoorDash driver puts the location of their delivery order into their GPS. 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. "24 minutes later, your GPS would have you rounding past the 1122 King Road house." Here it is. It says turn left on a King Road. Oh wait, look at it has you entering. Look at so look at how it wants you to enter. It wants you to pass up like you're gonna go past it. Okay, take a look. This is amazing. This is if you were to put it in back in the day. It has you coming up and it tells you to go up past the house, make a right, and to go in and walk like that. Now read this. Suspect can be seen entering the area for a time, approximately 4 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on Queen Road or stopping and turning around from 500 Queen Road, number 2, and then driving back westbound. I'm going to tell you that people can't find the house. The DoorDash driver passed around at Queen 52 and then passed up a little side street and then back to the house. Look at how it wants you to enter, though. To then try and turn around in a tight road after her GPS alerted that she missed it again, but which was right in front of the house, only it was too tight of a turnaround, so did she drive down the bigger area of the intersection of the 2 rounds to make a 3-point turn. Can this be argued? I don't know. I don't have the footage. And then she finally gets it right when she is heading back past the house and turns right to go behind the house and then comes through the trees like the GPS says to do. So she would walk through. It's just interesting that it's having you pull up like this to, in fact, walk in the house from the side, not pull into the driveway. Like, does anybody not find that interesting? I think it's very interesting. That's how you GPSed it. That's what it would do. After seeing the GPS and how it would instruct you to physically get to the house and walk into the home, this makes sense that a DoorDash driver would be lost and that someone who is not familiar with the home would think to enter if they followed GPS to completion. Well, let's see this then.
On to talk about where the next sighting of this between 2013 to 2015 white Elantra is. So moving to the middle of the page on page 7, again, there are no dates. This is big. So Officer Payne, he says, law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Again, doesn't say a date. We really need a date on that. We're going to get a date on that. That's important on when this all happened. The next paragraph. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect 1 vehicle, the forensic examiner initially believed the suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. Again, doesn't say the dates here after reviewing the numerous observations. Well, what date was this done? And then when did he change that it could actually be from 2011 to 2016? Was that to fit so that, this 2011, 2013 that everybody was supposed to be looking for? Well, Kohlberger's is obviously 2015. So what are the dates on these changes? Why did they change? Things like that. That's going to be huge for the defense. The dates, there's no dates in this probable cause on when people were doing what. Investigators, that at the last paragraph of page 7, investigators were given access. Again, when? Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus. Welcome to Truth and Transparency.
This is a good video for you guys. It's a 3.
This is a developing story out of Moscow, Idaho. Was Brian Kohlberger a police intern at the time that he was arrested?
This is the Gary Jenkins email. Chief of Police, Pullman Police Department. From Brian Kohlberger, employee. You see where it says employee info like that? April 12th, 2022. Now, did someone redact and write that in to be a fucking asshole?
Tuesday, April 12th. This is an email exchange between Chief of Police, Pullman Police Department.
Chief Jenkins, it was a great pleasure to meet with you today and share my thoughts and excitement regarding the research assistantship for public safety. I look forward to hearing from you. Best regards.
Gary Jenkins and allegedly Brian Kohlberger.
Allegedly.
Moscow, Idaho. 4 students brutally murdered. Was Brian Kohlberger an intern with WSU Police Department, Pullman Police? Again, Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, an email exchange between allegedly Brian Kohlberger and Chief Jenkins.
Now, please understand.
Allegedly, Brian Kohlberger was in Pullman, Washington on Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, to visit with the police chief.
Now, remember, they wanted, in a search warrant, they wanted March. They wanted dates in March of 2022 of his stuff. And so I said, well, maybe it was because they were like, he was in the area, then. But the last day of classes at DeSales University for the winter session was Friday, April 1st. But I just was researching a bunch of stuff.
The last day of classes
back in the day.
DeSales University for the winter session was Friday, April 1st, 2022. By all searches, classes would have resumed for the spring session on Tuesday, April 12th. But Brian...
Something that I noticed is that he emailed at 1:43 p.m. and it was so promptly returned with an email back from the chief at 1:49 p.m. That was truly what I took away from it. Wow, that's super quick.
Emailed the chief of police at 1:43 p.m. on April 12th. And that was promptly returned with an email back from the chief at 1:49. So I ask all of you, was Brian Kohlberger an intern with the police department? did Brian Kohlberger secure his assistantship with the police in spring of 2022? Truth and Transparency has told you yes from day one, and that this would be information that would need to be sealed for public safety reasons. This is a Home Team Productions. Executive producer Lana Oriani. Was Brian Kohlberger doing his ride-along hours in Moscow, Idaho? Did the cops know that Brian Kohlberger drove an Elantra because they saw him in it often when he came to work? Where did this leaked email come from? Is it real? The white Elantra, known as Suspect Vehicle 1, it is first seen in the PCA on Nevada Street on 1/13/2022, heading north at 2:44 a.m. While Olympia Avenue is the street TNT believes the white Elantra was on before Nevada Street, based on logic. And when you take that up about not even a half a mile, the WSU Police Department is right there on the corner of Grimes and Olympia.
Damn. Get the fuck out of here. What else? Anyways, going back to our scheduled preview.
Located in Pullman. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as Suspect Vehicle Number 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards State Route 270. State Route 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage from Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. Again, there is no date. Nothing has dates. When was this WSU campus footage given to you? Apartment, by the way, where he lives to connect to 270 is a 5-minute drive. What they're using for cameras is 9 minutes apart. So that's going to help the defense. And again, these no dates. What dates is everybody doing this? The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington, as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. The next paragraph, which begins page 8, again, this is all about the digitals. This is the circumstantial evidence that they built a case around Brian Kohlberger. Again, the reason this is really important about the dates is because based on the surveillance that they had at the time of the homicides, which was collecting from the 1122 King residence, Idaho, the University of Idaho. Student murders. November 13, 2022, 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. A 4-door sedan was seen in the immediate area of the crime scene, arriving at 4:04 a.m. and seen leaving at 4:20 a.m. This camera footage was given to an FBI forensic examiner with 35 years experience, 12 of those with the FBI. This FBI agent has specific training to include identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. The neighborhood of the King Road crime scene had numerous cameras, of which was turned over to this FBI agent. From that footage, He initially believed that the suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra, a white Hyundai Elantra. The date on when these video clips were given to FBI is unknown, but we do know that on December 7, 2022, Moscow police issued a press release looking for a 2011-2013 white Elantra and used a stock image photo of a white Elantra in the press release. Logic would tell us that up and until December 7, 2022, there were never any issues or discrepancies surrounding the description of the vehicle seen in the immediate area of the crime scene around the time of the murders. The same FBI agent who examined the footage surrounding King Road used that same footage again to further review that footage. And during that further look, said that now it could actually be a 2011 to 2016 white Elantra. Again, the dates of all of these reports will be very important in trial, but they are unknown today. Because it is a fact that December 7, 2022 was the date that the public was told by police to help them locate a stock image of the white 2011-2013 Elantra that was seen in the immediate area of the crime scene. And at no point was it ever modified to include 2014, 15, and 16. So let's take a look at a 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 Elantra.
There is no way that somebody fucks this up. Look at this. If this is good camera footage. This is 2011. First thing is the wheels. Second thing is the lights. Third thing is, yeah, the fog lights. Right there. I'm going to stop this one. Hold on. Okay, so this is your stock image, but you guys can count the spokes around this hubcap or whatever you want to call it. Rims right there. The grill here. I mean, this is so, again, if this is good camera footage, you're going to be able to see the way that where the grill is and where the emblem is, and then where, I guess you'd say, like, what seems to be like fog lights, but they aren't. You're going to see when it changes here. So 2014 is when you're going to get that change right there. Now they put the lights. Okay. So you have the lights underneath, and then your fog lights underneath. Then your headlights have like that eye shape that goes up like a female eye. Then your mirrors are going to now have the blinker with that light. And then look at your difference of your rim with your tire, your spokes, whatever you want to call it. Same thing with the back end. You now have these lights, these reflector lights underneath in the middle. And then same thing with your eye, your back lights. Just totally different shape. I mean, just very, very obvious to look at. Again, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 7. I think the other one has 10. So 2015, the difference. This is a hatchback. So I picked this on purpose. Again, look at your rims. Look at your fog lights have like that L inside L shape. Now look at your lights here are, instead of being on the inside in the middle, they are now on the outside. See that? So like you can't possibly say that it could be a 2011 to a 2016. I just really need you to see these. These are hardcore identifiers, which is going to be your lights. Okay. You're not mistaking this make right here. Okay. It's impossible to mistake if you're able to, if it's good footage. There's no way that you're going to be able to say that it is a 2011 to 2016. You're not able to group it like that. And if you remember, they went with 2011 to 2013 originally. And then they expanded it to 2016 after finding out that Brian drove a 2015, which is so important because I am telling you, if you are an XBI or an FBI expert in using tools to distinguish between the make and models and their years, this is a fucking no-brainer. Like, it has to be that shitty of quality for you to have to say that you're able to. It's just impossible. You might as well put a fucking Honda Civic in there as well. That's just, get the fuck out of here. It's just that it's bad. It's that noticeably different. So 2014. See right here, see how the lights. Now watch when you see the 15, it goes to the inside L tight. Count again, 1, 2, 3, I think it's 7. All right. You have a, right there, you have the blinker. But right here, pause. Oopsies. Right there. Hold on. Right there. You see how the bottom, the lights are on the inside? Now watch. (2015). This is Brian's year. It's a big difference. Oh, this is the hatchback, so we'll go through the hatchback. Right here. Boom. Inside L's. Okay? Like, backwards L. See that? You see the rims? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 7 now to 5. And you actually have, like, rims. All right? But these are now inside skinny L's for your fog lights. Underneath has the black with the blinker light on your mirrors. And then in the back, big difference. These are now on the outside. Before they were here in the inside. Now they move these out to the outside of the car. Your, I don't know, backup lights. I was a big lover of, so this is 2016. The next one here. This is a hatchback, so hold on. (2016), and I did this is a red car on a red car. You can still see like on the outside. So 2015 and 2016, they have the outside bottom lights. Okay. 2014, 2013, and 2012 do not have that. 2011 does not have that. So for you to come out the gate and say 2011, 2013, I'm telling you, like, this stuff is so noticeable. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, unless it is shitty ass footage. And remember, they gave us 2 stock images, one with a sunroof and one without a sunroof. How bad must the footage be if you can't tell that the car has a sunroof? Right here, still the inside L, 2016 inside L on the bottom with the lights. I'm an expert now with white Honda Elantras. There's just no way that an FBI expert with all these years under their belt, like I'm nobody. I'm nobody. Like, the footage has to be that bad because these vehicles from 2011, 2016 are nowhere near, like, you're not grouping them together. Like, I'm sorry, but you should not have a job. This should not be what you're doing for a living. You would never group 2011 with a 2016 ever. How does an FBI agent initially identify a 2011-2013 White Elantra as the sedan that arrived at 3:29 a.m. and passed by multiple times, to then say, well, yeah, it could be a 2011 to 2016 White Elantra? There has to be a reason to justify the modification, especially because of the huge difference when it comes to a professional eye for 2011 to 2016. To your average user, it's not going to seem like much, but to a professional, there's a lot of differences. Have you ever played photo hunt at a local bar? Well, I have, and guess what, guys? It's one of my favorite pastimes. So let's take a look at how hard it would be to tell the difference between a 2011 and 2015 White Elantra. But first, let's warm up. Oh, Karen, no. I love you, Karen. Just join us right here. Oh, no. Oh, holy shit, check this one out. This is what the FBI does to practice. See if they can spot those differences of those cars. Oh, I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing it right now. There's one up in the top left corner. I already see it. Top left corner, second die. The threes are different. Here she is. Hit it. Pop it. Over to the left. All the way left, Lana. Go over there. Go over there. All the way left. Top left corner. I can't believe it took me that long to get that one. Horrible job. You guys, there's just no way that the FBI can mess up a 2011 to 2016 unless it is horrible footage. So I'm just letting everybody know. There's just no way you can. It's that noticeable. And why are you putting a stock image out of one with a sunroof and then one without a sunroof? So I hope you guys liked my live today. I think I pretty much brought it. All the way to the left. What am I doing? I must be just messing around. Awful, Anna. I probably want to lose.
All right, so back to that white Elantra. I think we're warmed up. Your live episode starts in just moments. Do me a favor, be kind in chat to one another. And make sure you take your touch DNA and slap one of those thumbs. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for deep dives like no other. The University of Idaho murders, justice and truth for the victims and their families. Again, thanks to the transparency.
See you guys in the next live. See you guys in the next life. See you guys in the next life. You guys remember when these two dudes didn't know whose house it was that they were at? Lies, right? So you don't think that in a murder that they're gonna lie? Everybody's lying. Thank you guys. Well, at least Xana knew who you guys were, but they lied and acted like they didn't know who lived there. I get it. Trust me. I get it. But they had balls to be like, I have no idea who lives here, man. All right, guys. Peace out.